BIC episode number 155, bonus live episode. And it's definitely not because I'm too lazy to edit, if that's what you're thinking. It's
I
exactly
thought it
what
was
you're
because
thinking,
Eric
is it?
had to leave early and we were on a time. Whatever.
All of these things can be true at the same time. Look, I know that's what you're thinking. I see your judgmental eyes. I
We
see
just
it.
can't decide if we want to record or live stream. Kind of like making your own site or going back to your old one. It's kind of the
Look,
same.
at this point, I'm just going to my bread and butter. I'm doing the live thing. That's what happens. Ham here first, and Ham went live a little bit earlier. I was semi-inspired by Ham's decision to go live and my mocking of Neo that he didn't go live. But the reality is that no, I figured. Let me explain it this way. I had bullet point note form notes of what the original plan was for the podcast episode. A couple of these I'm still going to do because a couple of them still make sense to do. And then we got some changes today. We got some updates today, and I'm like, well, hold on, Eric. Never mind. Scrap that. Moving on. We're doing it live. They have big news. Can't wait to hear Carlos' take. We will get there, I promise. Yep, Me3, Philippines Collection. Good evening. So I went live. No question. No doubt. Happy Friday. That's right. That was the quickest week ever. Did you feel it?
Whiplash.
Yeah. So much Eric in 24.
Turkey.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed Thanksgiving. So much Eric 24 hours. Can we do this? I don't know. Did you get Eric yesterday? I don't recall him being around.
Well, I seem to have been part of that show last night that you and Dan did.
Well, indirectly, you were there in spirit. You were adjacent.
I was adjacent.
We even
There was a
defined
nice
adjacency.
photograph of you,
There was. That's right.
or still image, not necessarily
Yeah.
photograph.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Every live stream chat opened. Yeah. All good. So yeah. So I kind of, like I said, I threw it out. Every day, maybe Friday this week. Hey, it might be, man. It might be. Who knows? We'll work with it. So anyway, all right. Look, here's the deal. I promise we'll talk about it. I put it right in the title. So we're going to talk about it. So if you guys will indulge me, it is still technically a podcast episode. Indulge me for a moment. I want to get through the segments. So Eric, now you know. So we'll get to the silly card of the week. Let's give really quick synopsis. I'll make sure the community post is put up. You guys vote for your favorite. It's all good. Pick whichever one you like.
Quick. Oh, you never see anything so quick. You wait.
We're going to see about.
Yeah.
We're going to see about that. We're
Yeah.
going to see about that.
Yeah.
Quicker than a website being created and taken
Be
out.
great and dropped.
Wait.
Are we that quick?
I don't know if we'll be quite that fast. We'll do our best. All right. So here we go. Let's make this happen. So there you go, Dan here. Good evening. Eric, you were a good sport last night. There you go. Thank you, Dan. The response was good. I do want to talk about that as well, but hang tight. Let me do this stuff real quick and I'll get through these. Okay, real quick. I'll do comments from last week. I'm not going to read them all, but there were some great comments. I do want to make sure I acknowledge that. Appreciate it. If anybody wants to include leave comments to these episodes when they're done, feel free to do so because I'm always happy to read them and check them out. So let me skim through a couple just so we can get into it here. That was the episode where I did the Cole's Nose version of the shilling, which feels like 100 years ago because the world has moved on so quickly. That's how fast all this stuff is going. I will read Bob Boozle's comment, though. It came with timestamps. Eric says, 14 times in the span of a minute. I think that is the moment Carlos became the three-eyed raven, traveled to Eric's childhood in Westeros, warged into his past and present mind simultaneously, and turned him into a Hodor-like being. That was very thorough.
That's a lot of drugs. That's all I got to say.
I don't know. You had a lot of concussions. That's like having a lot of drugs.
It's a good point.
Yep. Josh here says, Peabody sighting. I hear that's where the witches live when it's not October. See? Another witch reference. That's 2 for 2. Angry Card Dad. Carlos, Dawson J. Lee appears to be selling his auction info in his book compared to the others making free videos for the community. This amused me, and I did answer. I see what you're saying here. If it's included in the appendix of the book that he's presumably selling, I believe that is still correct. I guess the counter here is that, as you noted, a lot of the info is available in terms and conditions of the auctions themselves. Everyone is able to access them, but you have to be willing to put in the legwork. So I am giving some credit. You're still compiling it. Or if one is extra ambitious, compile themselves. I definitely wouldn't buy a book of that type for that type of info, but most people won't bother to go look for it themselves, which is true. So I guess there is a market for folks who would rather have it curated, which I think is fair. It's always the way it works. If you can go look the terms and conditions up yourself, then yeah. But a lot of stuff can be looked up if you really wanted to. Well, Brandon, a lot of people don't want to do it. And if you compile it to them in one place, then they'll happily take it, and oftentimes they'll pay you for the convenience.
Yeah, and to be honest, even looking up some of them, they hide that shit. Like,
Sure.
when all the things come up, I'm sure people go and run and look and try to see if there's anything
Exactly.
noted in there
That's
or
right.
whatever. But there's stuff that's like crammed in. They'll use terminology to try to word play it in their favor and everything. And, you know, so yeah, it's there. It's just weaved in.
That's right. So yeah, that's like I said, bottom line, it's completely fine. I never have an issue with somebody if they want to monetize that. You know, if you put in the work, I'm fine with you trying to, you know, get something for your work. It is available for free, but the good news is if you don't want to pay for it, then you can go compile it yourself. You could literally make a Word document, go find the information, do a little digging and compile it yourself. But if you want to save the time and it hasn't been compiled for you, well, there you go. You've got an alternative option if that makes you happy. Double D Dylan here says, Carlos, you're taking over my ears today. Listen to you and Dan this morning, and now this. We got you, Dylan. We got you covered. E105 Melamint. If I won lots in Snype, I did, and have the email confirmations to prove it. How is it legal for those lots to be auctioned again on eBay? So I won't speak to the legality of it. It is tricky because you're saying you've got the auction email confirmations to prove it. So in that case, I guess those auctions were completed. So I don't know. I would kind of defer. Dan, I don't think that's necessarily his type of law, but it's one of those things. An auction is supposed to be a contract, Eric. So I'm not going to delve into that world. Not a lawyer. Didn't stay in Holiday Express last night, but I know that an auction in the past is supposed to be a binding contract. So it's one of those things where, like, if it ended and, you know, technically I should have received my stuff, then that's an open-ended question and a very valid question. I don't have an answer for you.
It goes back to the terms and conditions and all that crap.
Yes.
That they probably have something in there that if there was a technical error within the site, then it null and void.
Usually you've got a clause for that. You've got a clause for that. Yes. That's right. Usually you got a clause. The problem is, Brandon, I can't find the terms and conditions because the site is closed.
Right. Yeah.
So a bit of an issue. But I agree with you. There probably is a clause of some kind that usually covers technical issues. Josh here says, hey guys, you know, it's better than one live per week too. Valid. Good evening, Philly Joe. Brandon, I can't even tell your mouth is moving with the magical beard. It's all his powers. It's extra fancy.
Marcel
right, so
Dion approved.
That's right. That is a fact. All right. So those are the comments. We appreciate that. So now let's get into the silly card of the week here. Like I said, we'll do this one quickly. I'll go through them quick, and then I will make sure that we put all of the pictures and everything will be put into community post. You'll be able to vote for it. So thank you to everybody that voted this past week. I'll give you the results, and then we'll get into the examples that we have this week. And then we'll get into some of the other stuff because we got a lot of fun stuff to cover. All right. So here's the results of last week. Let me show you.
Boo.
Right. Yep. In this case, first NBA three-pointer did successfully thing. They took pity on Eric's plight, and they did give it to him. It's 49% of the popular vote. We do count all the votes, even if you're all wrong. We do count all the votes. It is the only true democracy in this world. So that is the results from last week. So there you go. Let it not be said that we rigged this because we even let Eric win. That's how scandalous it is. All right, Eric, you've got like 14 seconds to explain this. Go.
Bagels.
There you go. That's Eric's choice. Bagels. Delicious bagels. Platt Flatley bagels. Next. This right here is from President's Choice Cards. And this is the same person 3 times. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who was also the disciple in WCW and was also Zodiac. So this is an autograph card in which the same man signed the card 3 times with 3 completely different gimmicks.
Yeah, but Mick Foley can do that too, and I've watched him do it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Eric. Technically, if they had done their homework, they would have also included my personal favorite. And by the way, I am not making this up. You can Google that shit in WCW. So the second one is WCW.
Yeah.
The third one is WCW. But they could have also included one more in WCW, Eric, the Booty Man.
The Booty Man.
The lack of Booty Man is deeply disturbing, Eric.
And
because that was a thing.
And the Barber's not on there. Technically,
Brutus Beefcake, yes.
No, Brutus. So. Yeah, but first he was Brutus Beefcake, and then he was Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
And then maybe you could have 4.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. These are facts. All right, moving on. Brandon, this one's all you.
Psycho.
Love it.
Yeah.
There you go. Succinct and to the point.
Will
all 3
Clark,
options will be available.
Psycho.
Yes. Bagels.
All 3 of these will be included in the community post. As always, pick your favorite, select it. You'll be good to go. See, succinct to the point. Succinct to the point. Managed it. Dan says, Dustin taking the L. Apologize. It was very much not milquetoast, and I gave him kudos. He didn't even have to give me the 10,000. That is magnanimous of you, Dan. Magnanimous. Was we need to braid that beard? Maybe. Kenneth Blue, good evening. People like Mick Foley, they do. He's forever Brutus the Barber Beefcake. That was his best gimmick by far. The other stuff, WCW, they just kept. Now, for the record, it was actually, oh, you know what, Eric? There was one more gimmick that wasn't even included in that list that actually Brutus the Barber Beefcake, but obviously he wasn't calling himself that. I forget what that other gimmick was, but there was one gimmick where he got to actually headline a pay-per-view against Hulk Hogan, which that entire card is basically testament to what happens when you're buddies with the guy who basically runs the show in Hogan, that he's able to get his, you want to talk about having friends? He was able to be a main eventer in WCW for one specific match because his buddy was the one who was the world champion and the guy who basically ran that company.
Yep.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have had a job.
And they weren't friends anymore upon Hogan's death. So
but that was many years later. But at that time, they were still very much good friends, and so there was a lot of opportunities bestowed upon Ed Leslie as a result of his association, his long-term association with Hulk Hogan. I want Will Clark and Greg Maddox to have a conversation. Should be nothing but F-bombs. Probably true. Good evening, Orlando. So yes, I will include that. I will include the post in the community post as always, so you can check that out and vote for your favorites. All right, so I'll tell you what, why don't we save pickups for next week? Why don't we save pickups for next week, and then we can kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this thing?
Meat potatoes
more time
and bagels.
Yeah, and then next week we'll be able to kind of stockpile a couple, and we'll be able to share a couple of things. By the way, you guys, I'll include a link in the description. You can check out Brandon's channel. He actually had picked up some Walking Dead stuff, and he can go into it in a little bit more detail there.
Apologies, because there wasn't much detail in that video. I was trying to edit that part into a more explanation of it, and it kept whiting the whole like the opening video, washing it out, making it very, very bright, and you couldn't even see what was going on. So I just had to roll with what was recorded. But I will do a recap of everything and discuss it a little bit more. So
sounds good. So why don't we talk about this for a moment? Obviously, in the title, we got the Probstein thing. So we talked about it, and here, so in two contrasting things, Eric. In contrast to the hobby hotline thing on Saturday, where Beckett was on there, I already discussed it at length with Dan on the For Collectors channel. I'll include a link in the description. You can go check it out for yourself. We did discuss it. We summarized it. We discussed it. I did mention that I appreciated the Jugwax hero, Mike, did a reasonable job. I had no issue with the job he did. And again, I also took into account all the rest of the stuff. I took into account the factors, the conditions, everything. All things considered, it went above my expectations, but again, my expectations were not super high. But one take that was on there that he repeated there, that he also talked about when he was talking with Jeff Wilson, is that in that discussion and in the Jeff Wilson discussion, Probstein's a straight shooter. That's a take that's aging like expired milk. It's aging very badly as we speak. Now, by contrast, on the For Collectors channel last night, a take, Eric, that is aging like fine wine was me, specifically saying that not only are we just about ready to move on from Beckett's thing, I said literally on Sunday night, it's like, as soon as the clock crosses over into Monday, almost immediately, we're going to be 100% in Probstein mode. I'm paraphrasing, but basically I said, as soon as the clock transfers over, Eric, it didn't take long. It did not take long. It aged very well. That take aged quite well. So here we are. So, all right. So here's what we got. A couple of things. So first thing that I actually came across, I'll share it with you guys. It is in the land of the Pokemans. So not usually the place that we'll be looking for stuff, but I do want to give credit where it's due because this is actually where I got my first little piece of information. So it's from a channel called Cllct All Collectibles. We were talking to Discord, and Dakota obviously is more familiar with him, and he gave background that apparently this is a guy who's been around a little bit, and his information is generally good. This is from the perspective of consignor. So if you remember, Eric, on the Friday Live, I said that what I'm waiting on now is I'm waiting to hear from either bidders who are asking questions or consigners. So basically the people affected. I was waiting for one of them to say their piece because that was going to be more likely how we were going to get some info. So this is a person who was a consignor to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. So he's a very legitimate reason to be like, hey guys, what's
50,
going on?
Right?
30 to 50, something like that. So regardless, tens of thousands of dollars, like that's a very good reason, Eric, to be like, hey, I'd like some answers, dude. Like, I was selling the stuff with you. Where's my stuff? Am I getting my stuff back? Is my stuff being sold? What's the deal? What's happening? So valid questions all. So this person did ask the question and kind of gave a little bit of an explanation. And apparently he had kind of helped promote it a little bit. So obviously he has a lot of egg on his face. So he's being very apologetic and trying to be like, hey, sorry guys, I obviously didn't do enough diligence and I assumed certain things, and we know a thing about assuming, but it happens. Regardless.
Regarding this one specific video, I give Probstein credit for actually being on the phone with this guy. He didn't have one of his minions call. He didn't have his marketing people call. You know, he was on the other end of the line when this guy called. And I give props to that. So just so, you know, with all the other stuff that I'm probably going to say poorly about the man, I wanted to start off by saying I give props to him for being on the other end of that telephone line with his disgruntled customer. I think that's a good thing.
Now, that said, I do think that if you have tens of thousands of dollars to somebody's consignments, I do think it's the least you can do. Like, that's the bare minimum. You should answer the question directly. You shouldn't pawn it off to a minion. That's not a good time to do that.
I didn't finish the full video, but I'm pretty sure he said that many of the questions he came out and asked him, though, he wouldn't answer.
Sure.
So it was basically like all he told him was, you know, Snype isn't no more, and he's going to make an announcement.
And he said that the stuff's going to go to eBay.
And,
So,
but a lot of the questions weren't answered.
So Dan's right, okay, but he's talking as a lawyer, and and so he's 100% right. No question about it. From the other side, I see it as, you know, if I was someone who had hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, put into this company and everything went kaput, having the owner communicate with me is something I would appreciate. But Dan's 100% correct. I understand that point. But on the other side of the coin, I give the guy credit. It's probably the only thing I'll give him credit for moving forward.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I'll stand by my opinion. It is the bare minimum, and Dan's right. Like, in reality, in that situation, you really want to acknowledge as little as possible. My point is, the reason why I wanted to cite that first video is that is the first where I'm getting a little bit of details. That's the thing that we were waiting on. We were waiting for a little more information. And again, we'll get more people. As more people talk, they'll corroborate. They'll add in more information to it and kind of, but that is the first thing where you're basically getting almost a timeline. Because at that point, you were getting a timeline that, hey, you're about to get the announcement momentarily. And that's almost exactly right. Like, and it was pretty close within, you know, a couple of minutes of it. So on Cllct, which is, you know, an interesting news source, given a couple of the issues, obviously, that we had in recent controversies. However, for this specific thing, they were the avenue at which they did give the statement. So it's right here. Rick Probstein returning to eBay after failed attempt to start his own platform. And included a quick note here. Here's the statement. I'll read it. Probstein Auctions confirms our return to eBay. As part of the transition, we'll be winding down operations of Snype immediately, indefinitely, with every transaction on the platform canceled, and all associated funds to be returned to buyers. Probstein told Cllct in a statement. Also part of the quote, the shutdown of Snype is being executed through a careful process that places user safety and digital security at the forefront. A little late on that one, but, you know, that's my commentary. We are following a methodical wind down plan designed to ensure stability and clarity at every step. Now, Eric, I could be very snarky and make a lot of jokes, and Lord knows I will. But for the moment being,
okay, for the moment,
that is, again, the bare minimum. Just to be clear, that is the barest of bare minimums.
Yes.
And it still leaves off a lot of open-ended questions. Now, that said, though, based on that, though, that did answer one question, because a lot of folks were asking if the transition from eBay to Snype was driven by eBay, a la PWCC. And based on that statement, if he's able to go back on eBay, well, then clearly the issue wasn't necessarily on eBay's part, but a decision he made.
I never saw it. No, it's just
no.
Me.
But the question was out there. What I'm getting at is the question was out there, and if eBay is willing to take him back, regardless of the circumstances, then that does kind of answer that question.
Yeah, right.
And that's it. That's all I'm drawing from that. Nothing else. I'm just saying that if eBay is willing to take him back, then the issue from that perspective was not eBay's issue.
Right.
It was a Probstein decision, which has backfired impressively. And Eric, if I still had the footage from the problem is the footage was related to the Boston Bruins. This is where I would play the Hindenburg video.
Yeah.
This is where I would play it.
That's somewhat appropriate. Yeah.
Not great. Not great.
Snype went out quicker than the Bruins, actually.
Yeah, it was woo-hoo. The turnaround on that was quick. That was woo-hoo. Negative credit, yes. Yes, that is valid. That is right, Mike. Good day, yes. Every transaction canceled answers the question. Yes, very much so. Probstein has lost all his credibility. You would think so, Orlando. I would bet good money that the moment the account is reopened, there will be people who will consign for it. Not as many as before. There will be some people who literally got burned. Or there's some people who were with consigners of his on eBay who gave him the benefit of the doubt to this. And regardless of the data leak portion of it, the fact that the site crashed so spectacularly and they weren't even able to successfully complete one auction cycle, not one. Well, you're going to start looking at DC Sports. You're going to start looking at, Four Sharp Corners. You're going to look at one of the other ones. There are more consigners on eBay. There's other options for consigners. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to feel the warm and fuzzies about doing business again when you literally just got burned 5 seconds ago. But there are other people who will do it. It will be. So that's kind of what you have to remember about that. Back at it again. We're supposed to be open today on eBay. I don't think the eBay thing.
I think it said tomorrow.
Maybe I didn't catch a time for that portion of it. It just said that it was just the announcement that he's going back on eBay. To be honest, if I'm those guys, you're probably trying to get stuff on eBay as quickly as possible to try to make good for the people that are consigned to you, to try as quickly as possible to get stuff listed. So I'm guessing that they're going to try to do it with the quickness.
As their business model, every day that something is not on a platform selling, they're losing money.
It's a bad week also to be starting auctions though, because with people traveling and stuff like that, the bids are probably going to be down. So,
yep, that's valid. Oh, on Facebook. Okay, interesting. I didn't get a chance to see that, but thank you for mentioning it. I want Probstein seeing that it legitimately shut down his account on eBay. I just stopped listing. I mean, I guess you're saying, Zach, as a consigner. Not sure where you're getting at with that one. Probstein. Look at that. We're getting new names. I love it. Okay. Already live listings. Okay. There you go. That answers that question. They're moving with the quickness. Already over 100 auctions of Probstein's account. Okay. There you go. This is Snype week on eBay. I like it.
And I still won't be doing business with him as I haven't for the last couple of years. This is just nothing to change my opinion of the man, his business practices, or anything else. So it's just made it worse. Maybe there'll be more people joining me saying I will not do business with him.
I suspect there will be a dip in potential revenues. That said, I'll include a link for the folks on replay. I'll include a link in the description to the video from the YouTube video from the discussion, kind of from the first hand as a consigner, and then I'll also include a link to the Cllct article. There's not a lot more to it, but it's just a basic rundown of it. Again, if you just want to quickly skim through it, it'll give you just the basic details. And by the way, I suspect we're going to learn more as we go, because obviously this covers one piece of it. We talked about that. The second piece of it is the data leak, because this doesn't talk about that. This doesn't talk about, the YouTube video acknowledges that as well, but doesn't actually address. So obviously you did talk to some consigners based on this, told some of them that stuff was going to go up on eBay. So we've answered that question. Okay. Now, what about the data leak? What kind of data was actually there, to the extent of it? How pervasive was it? These are things that, now Brandon, we've got time. It is Snype week in the house of the content gods.
but is this better or lamer than Shark Week?
This is way better than Shark Week.
Also, going back to the Cllct thing, what does the hobby have against vowels?
I don't know.
You have a website that completely removes them, talking about another website that just swapped them all to Y.
I don't. Well, it would be like a trademark thing, though. You can't. The word snipe. I would assume somebody's used it for something. So I would think it's for something. I can't imagine what it would be, but for something for sure. How about bidding in general? I think people will hold back and not bid as much on any of his auctions. So this could be. So I think it's a valid question, but Eric, this could be like a PWCC thing from back in the day. Let me explain what I mean. When PWCC left eBay, eBay actually said that they were shill bidding, Therefore, that's why they were late. So eBay was clear about this. eBay was, there was no ambiguity, whatever. They claimed it's like, oh no, that's BS, whatever. But eBay basically said it, flat out said it. So, they kind of left in disgrace, so to speak. But then they had their platform. And I can tell you that in the early runs of the PWCC platform, they had site crashes. They had some difficulties, some technical issues. Not to the extent of this. Obviously, the site continued to work, and Fanatics eventually bought it, turned into Fanatics Live, and it continues to exist to this very day. So, in relative terms, Eric, a success story. They figured it out eventually. It took them a little bit of work. But here's the thing. To answer kind of point to this question. In the early days, if you were willing to take the risk, then you were able to buy some stuff pretty cheap because some people were willing to take the chance and some people held back because they were worried about it and decided to lay off. So in the early days, some stuff actually sold for a very solid price and you were able to get some nice items.
I think, in my opinion, we all made the jokes about the shilling and everything when it was announced that he was going to his whole thing. So the site malfunction, the alleged stuff that came out and everything, that's not a surprise. Him going back to eBay might actually benefit him because the audience there's going to be tons of people on there that have no clue about any of the details and they're just on there bidding to buy cards. So, he can actually hide better on eBay than on his own platform.
So Brandon, though, on eBay, you can rename yourself. So instead of being Probstein 123, is he going to be Probstein 321? Completely different guy.
456.
Or Honey Bunny.
Honey Bunny.
Honey Bunny.
Or what was the other ones? There was 4 different accounts that had
at least 4
associated with him and phone numbers associated with him.
There was so much stuff. All right. T206 Kid, good evening. Says, well, will the sheriff throw Probstein in the who's gal? He's a straight shooter. I'm just saying.
Yeah, straight shooter.
For the
sheriff. We might get a new. Wait, what if we get a new pricing tool out of all this and they merge to where we get Beckett's Probstein price guide?
So real quick,
there's business opportunity here, guys.
So Brandon, I alluded to it yesterday, and kind of since the T206 Kid brings up the sheriff, I'm just going to say this. Eric, here's a dramatic reenactment. Would you like to see a quick dramatic reenactment?
Oh, very much so.
Probstein HQ. He picks up the phone, and he's sitting there calling. And now we're at Sheriff HQ. Jimbo picks up the phone. Hello, hey, it's Rick. No. He doesn't even want to deal. He doesn't want to deal with it. Nope. Don't want to talk to anybody. Leave me alone.
I actually think the sheriff would be like, hey, you want to do a podcast?
Hey, Rick, let's talk about Snype.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You guys don't understand. Websites are complicated. I remember we were making it with HTML 1.0. Yes, indeed. Zach here says, sorry, I wondered if he legitimately shut down his account or just stopped listening. Yeah, that did answer the question. Okay, now I get what you're saying. I'm with you. Snipe-NATO premiere week. I like that.
Snipe-NATO.
Yeah, Snipe-NATO. I like it. John here, good evening. Catch an episode now. Has it come out if the show bidding was actual? So right now, that's still in progress. In progress still. Here, what we know is that he did concede defeat on the website. He's running back to eBay, the safe harbor of eBay. So it means that eBay didn't kick him off. So this part we have confirmed. We're so far so good on that. The extent of the data leak and the additional accounts, no confirmation on it yet. I have Eric working feverishly on a calculator trying to hack into the system and find out.
All I'll say, and I'm not an internet sleuth, but just looking at the stuff that was shared, there was a portion of what was shared that wasn't titled as a phone number, but it was clearly a phone number. There was multiple ones used, all of them linked to Rick. The emails, obviously, it's pretty easy to see what the email names were. You know where they were linked to. So take the info for what it's worth. I don't know that you'd ever get a confession because then that would pretty much concede the blackballing of everybody, but the information was there.
Yeah. All right. That's what I said. So remember, one of the things I was saying with Dan is I said that Now, the part of this, Eric, is that it's going to be a wave. It's not one thing. Tonight we have this because we have clarification on a few things, right? But then we have follow-up questions, right? So now we've got more questions on some of these other things. We've got partial answers on some of it, but now it's like, okay, so what about the data leak thing? You know, number one, how much information, how many accounts were affected? What is the extent of which, have you notified those people that were affected? That they should, what they should be concerned with or not concerned with, because there's different levels, right? It's still not good. No matter what, any kind of a data leak is bad. But if you get somebody's name and email, that's really annoying. But for most people, we're in a digital world. Getting somebody's name and email there's a lot of, let's put it this way. Neo did a video the other day where he was talking specifically about the Beckett data leak, which we haven't even gotten into because it's relatively small potatoes at the moment, but it's a discussion that something appears to be out there. The site he was using, it was like, have you been pwned? Which of course, classic internet lingo from back in the day. But here's the thing. If you punch in your email in there, a lot of people would be surprised how many data leaks involving your email address and certain specific piece of information. Like, let's put it this way.
They sell
the
it.
The email address that I punched in is an email address that I have that's available, but at the same time, it's not really connected to too many things that I'm too concerned about. When I punched it in, it came up in 12 different data leaks, Eric. But at the same time, I get spam mail all the time anyway, and on all my emails. So It's not like, having your email is not the end of the world. Financial data, credit card numbers and stuff like that, that's a lot more annoying. Your addresses and stuff like that, that's a lot more annoying.
The Ketchum guy said that he did ask about that, and that what he was told that it was information used to create your account, but it did not contain any payment information. That
was a claim from the video that he was talking about. Yeah. So again, we'll take it at face value, but I'm sure we'll hear from more people, and they will be able to get. That's why I said, Eric, I'm expecting a cascade as more people talk and give more information. We're going to get more. So like this is the initial wave. Now we're moving on. That's why I gave my dramatic reenactment a moment ago. The sheriff right now should like disconnect his phone, unplug it, throw it into a lake. Nobody has my number. Leave me alone.
And I've said this before, and I'll just throw it out there again, is that when it comes to the accusations, we're not sure. I'm sure there's investigations going on and whatnot, but the accusations that, all these
this would just be funny
were his and all of that. I am now at the point that if he is completely innocent on that, why isn't he yelling from the rooftops that he was hacked and these are bad actors? And, if someone ruined my business, my head would explode. My hair would be on fire. I'd go bananas. Yet
you try to do that on bikes.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you do. That's normal operating procedure for you.
Yeah.
It's like Timothy. I appreciate it, but when the site was first announced, the meme guys got to this one. So pretty sure we got a couple of memes with Shill already.
You're innocent until proven guilty, but I just think if any normal person, if your business was destroyed, your reputation was destroyed, and you are a victim, you'd be on the rooftop screaming. You'd be going bananas. Instead, he's been basically radio silent till today, where he put out a statement somewhere. I don't know if it was through Cllct or I didn't see anything from his social media, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. So
no, right now the only thing that I was able to find was just through the Cllct one.
Yeah,
specifically a statement.
That's weird to me, to be honest, because you would think you'd put it on all your.
Eric, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to cover this right now. I'm going to handle this. I got it. I got it.
All right. Well, then I'll just shut up and not just drink my soda.
Orlando says we know shilling happened. Oh no, Orlando. For legal purposes, we know nothing. Do we suspect? Yes. Suspect is not the same as no. Brandon, for legal reasons, I know nothing.
I suspect many data's there.
I suspect many things.
Look at it.
I suspect a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. No. Suspect? Yes. Strongly suspect? Perhaps. We got to cover our legal basis, Eric. We can't be getting the sued all the time. Not all the time. Allegedly. I'm not even fully convinced the actual website existed. I'm not fully convinced any of this is real. This is a simulation. It's the Matrix.
If it was April, we could say it was just an April Fool's joke, but
that's right.
We've got a few months to wait on that.
For legal purposes, the world is not real. It's all a lie. Moving on. Exactly, Eric. If he didn't show, he would be suing someone, denying it immediately, perhaps. But in fairness, to be fair.
To be fair.
You warmed up for that. That's like that seemed like that was a little bit of I sensed a little bit of effort there, Brendan. There were like layers to that. Okay. I see what's going on.
Yeah. He practiced that earlier.
There were vocal warm-ups happening pre-show. I know what's happening here. I see what's happening. Eric's trying like, oh guys, if I audition, this is my star-making moment. This is it right here. But anyway, so yeah, at the end of the day, we don't know anything for sure, but yeah, of course we all suspect. Like, let's be honest. And that's the beauty of this, Orlando, is I don't know why you all are rushing to the end of the story. Let us enjoy it a little bit. Let us go through the steps, because now we got the front door opened. We've started that process. Now we're heading down the hallway. And as we head down the hallway, there's going to be more stuff along the way. So now, like I said, Probstein can hide for a little while, but eventually he's going to have to actually start directly. Because remember, you want to start listing stuff up on eBay, that's cool and all, but there's going to be other folks that are not going to be satisfied with that answer, and they're going to want better answers. And then you're going to have to give them that. And then you got to say, like, oh, but what about the data? What about the rest of the stuff? What's going on with that? Answer that, please.
I don't know if any... I'm assuming that any of the consigners don't have this information yet, and they're probably questioning whether they want to proceed or not. And I didn't follow through the 82-part series that was done on Dustin's channel because I really didn't have any interest in the website. But I would assume that if he was going to his own platform, there had to be this offering of maybe lower fees, consignment fees, that sort of thing. What is he offering the people whose stuff he has if he's jumping back onto the eBay boat? Is he going to match what he was offering in there? Is he able to match what he was offering, fee wise there? Like that would be another element that would be interesting in all of this. Did these people consign stuff with him and under expectation of a certain fee, and now they're going to pay more? I mean,
yeah. Also tied to that. So eBay let him back on, obviously. Does he get the same deal? If I'm eBay, I'm not necessarily. I'm like, oh, you left. Maybe the deal isn't as good this time. Maybe your percentage is a little bit higher, my man. That's your problem. The prodigal son returns. It's going to cost you. I wouldn't be surprised. Look, eBay is a business too. They understand as well. You wanted to run away, and I guess it didn't work out. Not so easy to build your own auction platform, is it? I guess not. Just saying. Similar to the previous show, better story. Be right up. Here's Probstein has consigned several items from his collection to acquire. I was not aware of them.
To pay for a website that no longer exists.
Eric, it still kills me. Like,
sorry,
you're supposed to test the website. You're supposed to test it. That's like, Eric, it's part of the list. You have to. There's a list, and then part of the list is test the damn website. Make sure the damn thing works. That's part of it.
Yeah, it's the last thing before the final thing, which is go live. It's test, then you go live. They did it backwards.
The best part is some of the clunky stuff that was happening before it shut down was stuff that testing would have specifically identified. On this one, I'm just speaking real quick. I'm not going to bore you guys with details. I am speaking from experience because whenever you're doing a software platform, even if your job is to be admin and whatever, let's say the software is getting updated. So you're getting the new version. Part of it is make sure that all the old stuff still works. So what you do is you actually be able to, if you want to get really fancy, you can go multiple layers on this, but at a very high level, they'll take something that somebody normally does and they'll list out all the steps. and they'll say, punch in this information, punch in this information, punch in this information, do all that stuff. And then this is what is supposed to happen. So if you do all that, this is the result. This is what you're looking for. It's either a pass or a fail, Eric. If it doesn't do what you expect it to do at the end of it, it might be a minor problem, in which case you go back to the vendor and say, hey guys, it's not doing exactly what it wants to do, but it's not a deal breaker, or it's a deal breaker. If it's a deal breaker, you say, hey, stop everything, fix that. It's a bug. It's a serious issue. We can't go live with that.
Like many companies, I would assume that they pretty much put bids out and we're looking for people to build this platform and their website and the whole thing. And they didn't go with the most expensive one. They went with, a lesser expensive one, which usually means lesser talent, lesser ability, lesser reliability, and lesser security. And you get what you pay for a lot of times. I worked for a multi-billion, trillion-dollar company in Leahy, and they went and found the absolute worst company you could possibly imagine to rebuild their entire website and to all our hospital notes and all our medical notes and stuff we had to write after we met with clients and things like that. And the thing was a complete disaster until they finally, after a year, fired that company and had to then pay the better company to come in and fix their mess. And it was another year before we got everything up and running. So this is what companies do. So I'm sure he didn't say, okay, I'm going to spend $5 million and get the best company available to do this. He was like, how about it's 100,000 sound? And you kids that just graduated from computer science class, why don't you do it for me?
Eric, considering the website that we got out of that, I'm thinking Brandon more like $150.
So
I'm thinking he went to Fiverr and picked the cheapest option.
Yeah.
Whoever
That's
he just
possible. Yep.
Yeah, he just scrolled through. This seems fine. Pick that one. That's fine.
Or he did what the one website thing where you can get your domain and all that from.
Squarespace. Squarespace?
Yeah, and you can pay them to just go ahead and you tell them what you want and they design it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They forgot the Shopify element.
Exactly. Orlando says, at least don't use HoneyBuddy until the website is secure working properly. Orlando, if he had put it on the checklist, you do all this, bottom, use the HoneyBuddy account. It's got to be at the bottom of the list. It's after the other steps. You're skipping steps, man. Allegedly. Could have been worse, says nobody. Look at Ham with the zingers. I see what you did there. I assume. Probstein had to deal with eBay if he had site issues, part of the disaster recovery plan. I'm sure he would have wanted to do that. But what's eBay's incentive? No, that's why I'm asking the question. So wait, you're ditching us and then you want us to leave the door open for you as a backup plan?
You want to be competition, but if you can't handle it,
but it doesn't work out, you want to come back? Eric, if I was eBay, I'd be like, you can come back, but we're going to adjust. The terms are not going to be quite as sweetheart as they were in the past.
Yeah.
You could still give them better than normal terms, but you don't have to give them, but I've been on there for 20 years or 15 years or whatever it is. Yeah, but you're not now.
It's like leaving a job. You lost your seniority.
Yes. Yeah. You took a siesta and now you're coming back. I don't know about that one. Again, business is business. Just eBay's a business too, man. I'm just saying. E105 says it's assumed that the website and mobile app were vibe coded. We do like some vibe coding. Ben Ryan says he's going to bring AI to fix the shill bidding issue. Maybe. Building a website, how hard can it be? Clearly very hard.
Building a website, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But if you have a little bit of training, I think building a website isn't really that difficult. What's difficult is the security and making sure it can handle the amount of people that are going to be on it, the traffic. That's where the real difficulty is making it strong enough to handle the traffic and the security. Yeah. I know a bunch of high school kids could probably build a website, right? But can you build one that's going to have over 1 million people visiting it a year? That's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you have no options. Pay up, Rick. Indeed. Dave here says, I'm glad he's back on eBay. Hey, some people will be. But what's funny is, like, so going back to what I was saying a moment ago, the reason I was saying that, business is business. eBay, of course, wants the business. But at the end of the day, if you have a disaster on your own platform, and to be 100% honest with you, I listen to some podcasts because obviously eBay has a lot of consigners out there. There's a lot. Slab Sharks over in Canada does that business. There is, as I said, 4 Sharp Corners. There's DC Sports. Like, there's a bunch of them that do that kind of type of business. The reality is, if you're eBay, you're like, do you really care if it's Probstein, or do you care if it's 8 other ones who pick up the slack? If at the end of the day, you're getting the same amount of auctions and you just break it up over more of them instead of having 1 or 2 big ones who can threaten to leave, it's actually not a bad deal to have a couple of decent sized ones that are doing their business, they're operating. And again, you can have DC Sports, 4 Sharp Corners, and all those other guys. You don't need Probstein. He was useful because he was bringing in a fair bit of business. But what else can you do? If the business just goes to the other guys, why not? Just spread it around. The other consigners can get some of that business too, and then you're all good to go. So you can have some fun. So let's go here. How much in fees do you think eBay made off Probstein a year? No clue. He claimed that they made over 900 million in sales. So he would get a favorable percentage for all those years that he was on and all that's business. He would get a favorable percentage, but that would still be a lot of fees, especially if you add it up over time, over the sheer number of auctions over a long period of time as well. Okay.
Carlos, did you see my last text?
Yeah, I'm going to get that in a minute. I just want to make sure I finish this thought. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, David here says that is partly correct, but there's a precise timing and ordering problem. There's incredibly difficult problems, and there was a small number of engineers who understand how to build those systems. So I agree with you. That's why I was joking earlier when I said, how difficult can it be? I said, well, clearly very. But the reality is, so again, going back to, look, we had this conversation the other day. A website is a website. We're not talking about the website. We're not even talking about, can you punch in your credit card information and have, secured and whatever. We're talking about, and by the way, there's auction software that you can put that can do a lot of these things. It's about having the ability to do volume. It's about having the ability. And he also tried to introduce new features. On the auction pages themselves, he tried to have a little chat window. And then he tried to have this Snype auction, which apparently wasn't working. So you tried to add another feature that isn't available in these other places. And so you're trying to reinvent the wheel out here. You're trying to add these little elements with experimental features on top of it being a sophisticated auction platform. And that's why when Mangini on Friday was talking about like how the early days of eBay. Well, if you want to have some fun, I actually was looking it up over the weekend because I thought it'd be kind of funny. I mentioned that eBay, before they were eBay, it was called AuctionWeb. That's what they were basically set up as originally. So it was so long ago at this point. I started on eBay in 98. By 98, they were already eBay. But if you ever seen, it's called the webdesignmuseum.org. There's a website that actually archives some old, internet sites, specifically though, like historic ones, specifically important ones that have been there, including eBay. So let me show you actually what this looks like. So here, Eric, here's a time machine almost 30 years ago.
Oh my God.
This is what AuctionWeb looked like in 1996.
Okay.
It's a very straightforward, this is like your front page splash page. Now, obviously you've got the auctions themselves, but this is your splash page. This is what AuctionWeb looks like in 1996. Guess what, Eric? In 1996, I could have built this website in about an hour. But the thing is, it's also making the auctions work. It's making that component of it. That adds a little bit more to it. But the point is, the basics of this, like, I could do this in HTML, Eric, in Notepad for you. Probably, if I think about it, I could probably do it right now. It would take me a little bit of thinking just to remember exactly how I would set it up. But like, this is straightforward. Here's what it looks like by 1999. Second here. This is when it starts looking like eBay.
Yeah.
So this is right now, late 90s. Now it's starting to feel and look like eBay a little bit more.
It had that old AOL vibe.
That's right. But this is 3 years after that. So it took a while. Like it took a while. These were the early days. It started to develop. And then you started adding categories. You start doing, and then there's like a little featured thing on there. And then, move up to 2001. All right. Now it's getting a little busier. It's getting a little more cluttered. There's more stuff going on. Let me move up to 2010. All right. Now we're getting a little more sophisticated. And by the way, 2010 is still 15 years ago. But this is a lot more sophisticated than what we started with. So the point is, you started off with something basic, and then you built off of it. it kept improving. It iterated and it kept changing as time went on. It got better. The problem is, even if we didn't have the scandals, even if we didn't have all the concerns about Probstein over the years, let's say he was just a businessman who decided to want to make this a go. It is really hard to start an auction website running tens of thousands of auctions from the ground in one shot. You would have been better off soft launching it, trying with a small amount of auctions just to make sure it worked.
Yep.
Just to make sure it did, because what happens if 100 auctions crashes, Brandon? It's not the end of the world. That's annoying, but it's whatever. It's fine. But you wanted to drive people to buy. You could have kept your eBay account going in the meantime. You could have taken a few people that were willing to take the plunge and try it with low stakes stuff just to make sure it worked. Again, there's a process to this, right?
Or even
There's a
had it
process.
private access to where you could have gotten a user base to go on and,
Yeah,
just say,
try
hey,
it
look,
for-
bid the hell
try
out
it
of this stuff. Like, let's see
try it
how
for a
much
couple-
traffic it can handle.
You bring in some people who intentionally try to break it.
Hmm.
You bring in people who intentionally try to be like, all right, I'm going to try a bunch of wacky stuff and see what happens. And that's your test, part of your testing. But that requires strategy, Eric. All of that is strategery. All of it.
Strategery.
It's planning and practice. But that's how you build a robust system. That thing was set to collapse from the beginning. It'd be interesting to be able to interview somebody with some sort of knowledge on what it's like to negotiate with eBay if you're a big account. That's true. That would be really interesting. I agree with you. When I worked another life, we had clients try another software and came back after the other software didn't work as good as expected. eBay might be favorable to have them back the money. I agree with you. But again, going back to what I said a moment ago, it's not. I don't think eBay cares about Probstein as much as they care about the business. The problem is when you burn the business. Remember, these people that went over off of eBay and went over to the Snype software,
Yeah.
they did so because they trusted Probstein. Well, you just burned them. So now why wouldn't you just go with a different consignor on eBay? Like, you don't need Probstein for that. You could probably have stolen the DC Sports and those guys could have stolen some of their business. I listened to podcasts specifically with some of the consignor guys, and they were thinking about that. They're like, well, if he goes off eBay, there's some of the clients who were comfortable on eBay.
Right.
Remember, Probstein didn't get everybody to go over. He did get some people to go over for sure, but there's other people who be like, I'm more comfortable on eBay though. I know eBay. I understand what it is. It's the devil I know. I would rather have my stuff listed on eBay with more eyeballs. So then they would just pick one of the other consigners. So from eBay's perspective, we don't really need Probstein. Sure, if he's bringing business, then we're cool. But if he's not, why wouldn't we just go to one of these other guys and list it that way? We'll still get the fees in the end, Eric. The money will still come in. We're good. I have the Melamint Le Joie card of Trader Sell. Thanks, Carlos. Finally, a platform we don't have to worry about being shilled. Eric is making a bid. Hell of a time logging into Snype. Wouldn't shock me. Didn't seem like it seemed clunky. I remember having to mail a check on eBay. Yes. Yeah. And the money orders. The money orders too.
Yep. Had to go to the bank, get the money orders. Yep. Then you had to wait because, the thing had to travel to the person. They got it, cashed it. We had to wait a couple of days, right? Whatever. And then your thing, oh my God, it took a month to get a transaction done.
Mm-hmm. See here. If shilling is legal and eBay forbids these shady tactics, doesn't bring in Probstein back, hurt their reputation. eBay has enough money not to care about reputation. Basically, they have an out though. Basically, if they catch him doing anything on their thing, like Lord knows,
This puts a target on him.
They don't have the sheriff. They don't have the sheriff on call. Again, the sheriff is not taking anybody's call right now. I did give you guys the reenactment, right? No.
Yeah, I think it's just the opposite. I think that guy is, see, I don't want to use that word, so I'll just say he is an attention lady of the night.
Wow, look at you.
And
yeah, Rick went home. That's right.
And he is loving the fact that his phone's been ringing off the hook for the last 2 weeks. That is my opinion.
It's all about the opinions, man. It's all about the opinions. Yeah. So, quick side question. We can talk about this a little bit more for a couple minutes. And by the way, Eric, timing wise, whenever you're good, you're more welcome.
I got a text that all my plans have changed.
Okay, fair enough. So why don't I do this real quick? By the way, Ham, I know you already did your live, so you might be all lived out. If you want to pop in and chat for a little bit, I can send you a link, but you just have to let me know. I can do that. And again, if Eric needs to go anywhere, or if your plans change and you don't need to go anywhere, that's fine too. We'll hang out for a little while. We'll chat because obviously there's a bunch of you here, so I'm completely okay with that. We're not going to go all night, but we'll hang out for a bit because the topic is topical. And again, look, tomorrow you'll have Sports Go Radio, and I'm sure they'll have a bunch of stuff they want to talk about too. So again, we've got this stuff here that's a little bit new, and then I'm confident there will be more through the week. I really am. I really believe that now you let the first shoe drop. Now you're probably gonna hear from other consigners. You're probably gonna hear from other bidders and people who are involved, and they're gonna give you their 2 cents on how it went for them. So as that happens, I'm sure we'll pick up some more stuff, Brandon. I think we'll get a couple more details here and there, and people will start kind of piecing it together. It's early days. We literally just got our brand new. Listen, Brandon, I've opened up the cabana for the Content God Mega Church. Eric, you might need to get your cabana uniform going. We're gonna need the heaters out there.
Whoa.
There's cabaning happening.
I don't like that uniform.
I'm sorry. Too bad for you.
Causes me to get a rash.
Well, Amanda picked it out. Go complain to her. Anyway, Cardeal says, I can confirm contacts have been made for all these constant feds. There you go. Go for it. Hey, listen, if something comes of it, great. But I don't have as much confidence as a lot of people do on that being the avenue. But why not? I have no moral opposition. Go for it. Yeah. Run both programs side by side as the sale goes. You're talking about like 2 auctions side by side? Maybe. Probably could. Eric, maybe I have something you need in 2026 National. Guns N' Roses plays Chicago on Wednesday of the 2026 Natty. Damn. All right.
Yeah, listen, I grew up in the 80s.
He's trying to figure out what decade. It's good.
GNR was awesome. And I had every single album. And they were just incredible. They were a force of nature. I do not want to see Axl in his current state. Just like I do not want to see Vince Neil play in Motley Crue in his current state. It's done. It's over. That is not what I'm going to go see. No.
But what if they play the entire Chinese Democracy album?
I'm definitely not going.
Damn. Brutal. At the Coco Cabana, that's right. Already done? Yeah. I'm not discouraging you. I'm saying, to be clear, go for it. So it's one of those things. Folks certainly have the right. And look, there is enough smoke. But the reason I joked about earlier tonight, I'm not interested, Eric, in playing games where I'm going to definitively say anything when I can't definitively say anything.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it though, and I'm going like, okay, I'm seeing some stuff.
Yeah.
And as time is going on, I'm like, okay, I think there is more smoke as we keep going. How about that? There is more smoke as we keep going.
If proof comes out in the future that he is truly a victim and his site was hacked and it was sabotaged and it was bad actors and competition and, they wanted to destroy him, there will be some people that will have to get down on bended knee and apologize.
Eric, there is literally nobody who will do that. Guarantee. Number one, there's nobody who will do that. And number two, again, just to be clear on this, I can state what I believe. I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that's going to be the scenario we're going to play out. But I'm also not willing to definitively make a choice. But if I am a betting man, I can tell you where my money's going.
I'm very, if there were bets, I would feel comfortable laying down 100 spot on what I believe. However, if there is a true investigation, maybe some authorities are involved, and it is completely 100% proven that he is a victim, there will be some people that should go on their platforms and say, I was wrong. I am sorry.
I'm also willing to take the under on that too.
Yeah, I hear you.
I will double bet on the under on that one.
So that's why it's important to make sure that we try to, stay down the middle of the line so we don't lose our credibility in the future.
Yeah. That's what I said. My answer to this is going to be, I will tell you what I strongly suspect. I strongly suspect there is more smoke here. And I think as we go forward, we will get more out of it. I think there's a lot of things wrong with what happened. There's a lot of things that are wrong. And also, just to be clear, let us not forget that this still all came about as a result of a very poorly designed website that should never have seen the light of day for a go live.
Yeah.
That's still negligence. Like that you actually took people's stuff and consigned it to a website that was improperly designed. Like it's bad. I'm sorry. Regardless of the outcome, it's still bad.
that seems to be the case. So, like we said earlier, you probably went to the lowest bidder, and you didn't put security first.
Yeah, and David is correct here. David is kind of giving a synopsis here.
Yeah.
The fact that it was so easy for people to extract some data is absolute negligence.
Yeah.
Regardless of everything else, who did it, responsible parties and all that, this is still really bad thing. That's for business wise. I would question your judgment above all else, regardless of anything else. I would question your judgment.
Your security. This is your business. This is your livelihood. This is your name on it, your reputation. Security should be your number one priority, because without
for this kind of stuff, especially,
everything else. And that was not taken to be the number one priority.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's why I say I agree with a lot of it. I still think it's fair to state that it's presented a very intriguing set of circumstances. Ham, if you're good, just give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready.
I have a question for you
Brandon.
guys and the chat.
Go for it.
Because just curious, like I'm trying to look through here real quick, but the last thing that I can remember that I've even bought from Probstein was in 2022.
Okay.
Just curious how often people even checked or purchased or whatever from his listing. I know he sold a lot of stuff, obviously, but you know.
A lot of times when I saw an auction for Probstein, either stayed away from it or it went too high. So now I know why, though. So it's easy conclusion.
I was buying things right up until he had that interview with Mastro, and then I'm like, nope, I'm done. So I used to buy tons of hockey stuff from, it was just right. I could drive and pick it up if I wanted to. It's on the East Coast. It was in the United States. I didn't have to pay extra for get stuff from Canada. I used to use them all the time.
Oh, listen, Canada's not so bad. It's pennies on the dollar.
I was gonna say, Eric's bitching and moaning. Like, I could charge you $5,000 shipping. It's supposed to be pennies for you. What are you whining about?
No, that's
that again. U.S.
Pay for
shipping
you,
getting ready to go up again. So
that is bullshit.
So real quick, David's got some great comments. So thank you, David, because he almost certainly outsourced everything and never brought in a chief technology officer. So that's CTO, or anyone with any actual large distributed auction experience. Agreed. That's kind of what we were alluding to. I was joking around with it. I said before, I have enough experience with this stuff, Ham, on my end of it in my career to be dangerous. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer, but I deal with those guys. I have a pretty good sense of what they do. And also my job as the admin guy is to understand enough about how things work so that I can do my job.
Yeah.
This is a certain type of system, website or not. It's still a database. We're still putting together information in a database. There are vulnerabilities. You have to protect the data. That is paramount.
Why didn't they test it more? Like,
agreed, 100%.
Like, obviously the proper testing was not done.
Correct.
I'm an administrator too for where I work. And like, there are certain things you do to try to create vulnerabilities or see where you're vulnerable at. I don't even think they tested it. I think he was like tired of spending money and is like, I want this thing fired up. Time is money. And then oopsie daisy, didn't realize the back door was open and everybody could see my business.
Yeah. Well, I've literally, and this is standard. I'm not sharing anything that's unusual, but I've worked at different companies where they were implementing something that was a new system for them. It was doing something that they had done previously. And they literally hired, a consulting firm whose only job was to be like, their job is to know some of how that works. They're going to help with the implementing and everything. But part of that is they literally built, and they had like 3 people working on it, a spreadsheet of tab after tab after tab, scenarios, all the different modules of the system. This is what you're supposed to, and they would literally create. You're going to punch in this person's name. They would give you the whole scenario. They go, you're going to punch in this person's name. You're going to fill in this information. You're going to check off these boxes. You're going to step by step, Eric. You literally would go all the way. And your job, you would sign it. I'd say, Brandon, you're going to do, 1 through 17 scenario. Ham is going to do 18 through 35. And we would break it up. And your job was to follow the script. They would build you a script. And the point is to test it. And if at any point something breaks, you make a note of it. You explain exactly what broke and what point it broke. And then we meet up after the fact and say, hey, this broke. Is it an issue that's a small issue? Is it something we can fix? Or is it a deal breaker? Well, there's some deal breakers in this program that clearly nobody bothered. Again, this is for a larger organization, but I'm sorry. For a website, the concept is not, I want somebody to sign up. I want to make sure they get the email. I want to make sure the email is formatted correct. It's the same idea. It's the same stuff.
Yeah,
you're supposed to test it.
Is basically what it is.
Yeah, you are still supposed to test it. It still needs to do the functions. It still needs, I should be able to press the button and it does what I expect it to do. And it should happen every time. I should be able to test it multiple different ways and it should still give me the result. That's testing. That's the job. And whether it's a website or whether it's a big application, the concept's the same. But you still have to do it. That's part of the job. Hello, Korean Cardboard. I bought through Probstein, one bid and one at least 4 items. Lost a couple that I was outbid on. There you go. Yeah, today's quality assurance is very limited by smaller workforce due to increasing bottom line. No, totally. But also, again, given the nature of this, we know a lot of the scenarios, like even not being an expert on the back end of these things, I'm sure you and I could get together and come up with some reasonable scenarios that would at least give you a starting point. Yeah. Obviously, a professional could be even more in depth and really go into the weeds, but we can still come up with enough stuff where, like, if it's clunky, we're going to find some bugs.
I think whoever he had working on it obviously did not have the wherewithal to understand what they really needed to do. I feel like he probably went cheap. Wasn't paying attention and didn't know enough about what he would need it to do and got himself caught in this bad situation. I mean, for you to shut something down that quick, like literally, I built a building. Oh, floor number 2 bad. Blow it up. I mean, that's basically.
Well, I think the other damning question here is you have the skeleton built. You could hire someone to fix the details that were missed or incorrect. Why did you throw it all away and say, nope, we're running back to eBay? That's where there's some other answers that we don't have to certain questions that it throws some alarm bells, because you invested this, you did all the videos with Dustin, everything else, you were excited about this, it was going to be great for you, and then because it failed at launch, you're like, okay, we're scrapping the whole idea and going back to eBay.
Just
like,
ran away.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I think though, again, I'm speculating. Just Ham will do all the.
Yeah, we're all speculating.
Allegedly speculating.
Allegedly. Don't really know.
And if all else fails, it's Eric's fault.
Yep.
It was all his idea. But regardless, that said, in the course of this speculation we're doing, the reality, and you tell me, does Probstein strike you as a guy who would be a stubborn individual? He strikes me as someone to be a stubborn individual. So Eric, if I'm taking a stubborn individual who gave up this quickly, how much of a disaster that we don't even understand the disaster is it for him to give up this quickly?
That's why I feel like he's guilty more than innocent based on his actions.
I would think I was my if I was a betting man, the other day, I would have said he would have put everything on hold and said, give us a month, maybe more, or at least say, give us a month. And, let us get the bugs out and we'll see you all again in a month. I did not think they'd set the building on fire and walk back across the street to the eBay building.
And that speed, though, tells me something. Like, it suggests something to me. That I just think it's something worth considering, because to me, it's like, that's kind of interesting. Must be people build it or the one scamming. I don't know, something. So Mickey Tattles is asking the question here. Okay. So if you rent an auction house, how would you prevent shilling? I don't honestly think I don't think you can 100% prevent it. I think there's things you can do to mitigate it. Yep. One of the things that I would do to mitigate it is I would go back to what eBay used to do. I want to see I want to see bidder handles. So as the auction is going on, I want to be able to see them. Not an obfuscated, broken down version of it. Oh, sure, if you know the feedback score of certain people, you can kind of extrapolate it if you see them all the time. I want to actually be able to see the handle. If I'm seeing the handle consistently, then at least it gives me information. If nothing else, it gives me information. Because if I'm always seeing the same person bidding all the time on the same seller stuff. Now, eBay started to do this a little bit, because you can click on a thing and it says, they bid on 74% of this person's auction. There's a little bit of info. Yeah. You can click on it a little bit. But in the old days, you could literally just see the handle and that took care of it. And you could see it. If you're seeing the same name all the time, it tells you something. So you don't have to do too much on that one. And the other thing is, again, it won't prevent it. I would want an automatic payment option built in so that if you win, it just pays it.
Yep.
Does that stop everything? No. Somebody could be like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. I'm paying myself, so whatever, it's fine. But it still at least puts a little bit of friction, gives a little bit more work to the person, because at least they got charged for it. So those are a couple of things.
I think you can get up to like probably a solid 80-85% mark on stopping it from happening with more data available to everybody else actually bidding. Yeah. And obviously being a registered bidder is, I mean, you can't be like eBay where any mother can just create something and, create an account showing somebody's feedback will obviously let you know how interested they are in actually buying things. You'll get those obviously one-off. Some person's bought 3 items and now they're bidding on a $3 million item. It's kind of like, you never bought anything over more than like $500. Like, you should not be here.
Yeah,
like there should be some
it's
flags to
just
get
more,
raised.
it's more information. Anytime you can see a little bit more info, at least it lets you be a little bit more
Yeah.
informed. So as the bidder, again, if you're seeing certain suspicious names all the time, after a while, you're going to start to get again, eBay used to have this. So
Yeah.
back in ye olden days, I used to know who the other bidders on my Dano cards were, Eric. And after a while, I'd be like, it's you. Okay.
I used to watch it too, because when you see the same guy that bid 6 times in a row, he's only bidding himself up to like create a higher number, but like he's not even waiting for me. And it's like 3 days left in the auction.
I
Like,
could be
what are you
wrong
doing?
though, but I think one of the reasons they took it away was because people were getting harassed if they were winning stuff that someone else wanted, or if, like Carlos just mentioned, oh, it's you bidding on this, and people were running them up.
Yeah. So it's one of those things back then, once you became aware who the players were. Now, in that instance, they were legitimate bidders. It was just us going after the same items. We were collecting the same players. So like that's why we would wind up in these. We were literally competing with each other, trying to win these things. Now, what happened at that time, Eric, and this is probably why eBay, one of the reasons eBay didn't want that. After a while, we kind of like, dude, like seriously, are we going to do this all the time? He goes, no, fine. You take that one. so they actually, maybe that's why, Eric, they weren't so cool with that idea after a while, because they're like, wait a minute, the bidding war was going great for us. It was, and I was like, I don't want to keep having to, I know who I'm bidding against. And it's like, yeah, that guy's got a lot of money and I don't want to play this game right now.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did not understand and was not encouraged by with the Snype is the fact that you could communicate with the people you were bidding against. Have we not learned that the internet is a mean, nasty, filthy, disgusting, evil place? Why would
Allegedly.
why would not allegedly? It's horrible. Why in the world would you give live bidding a place where you could be like threatening people, saying horrible, disgusting, mean, nasty things?
Sounds like Bangkok all over again.
Yeah. Jesus. When he said, oh yeah, everyone likes a little drama, and people sit there and can.
Well, no, the people liking drama, that's true. That part I agree.
Why in the world would you allow live communication with other bidders while it's going on, so you could just trash talk and threaten people? It's like, you upbid this again, I'll find you, I'll kill you. It's like, what? I mean, it blew my mind. That was part of the platform. It just blew my mind.
Speaking on the suggestion of the automated bidding, I actually just won an auction on eBay. They have the 1 hour.
Thank you, David. Some great. I appreciate the answers on this one.
To where, like, if you don't do the immediate checkout, it automatically processes after an hour, or you can click checkout now. So, the automated payments work way better than what we used to have. There's still some things people get by with, like a prepaid card, or stupid little
Brandon,
things like that.
I'm not suggesting there aren't workarounds. I'm all my only suggestion is that that's why I led off with, I don't think you can 100% prevent it. I don't think you can even 90% prevent it. I think because if someone is really determined, if they're hell bent on doing this, there's enough ways around this that you can make it work. But the point is to create. Right now, it's in a lot of cases, there's not a lot of friction to it. It's too easy. Like if you make it too easy, then everyone will try. So if you want to at least curb it a little bit, what you do is you say, there's some folks that are really lazy and they don't want to take that extra step in order to do it. So give them at least a little bit of a barrier, a little bit of a roadblock, just to make it a little bit harder. And that will deter some people automatically. And then you will reduce it automatically just by doing that. It's a start. It's not going to be, I'm not offering an all-encompassing solution, because the all-encompassing solution is to fix human nature, and good luck with that. I can't, where there's an opportunity to cheat, someone will always. So I can't fix that, but you can add a little bit of friction, and that might be enough to help you curb it a little. Yeah. So Marcus, you're saying the E4 Forum Post has claims that the card issue and bank information is accessible. So I did hear about that. Like, that's why I say I'm not going to comment on it because I've scanned it briefly. But
Yeah.
again, I'm taking it from a third party here that's extracted it. And kind of to David's point, if they're using Stripe, so for example, I'll give you an example. Stripe is obviously one example I can put here. But if I've got somebody's PayPal account, and by PayPal account, I just mean their email, that doesn't mean you can extract money out of that account.
Nope.
You have to actually be able to get into the account. When, for example, eBay, we'll talk about eBay. So I won't speak for you guys, but when I'm buying something on eBay, yes, you can load up your cards and such and whatever, but obviously eBay's been around for a while and there's certain things in place for that. But you could also do PayPal. An option is to select PayPal. Well, if you select PayPal, then you are manually logging into your PayPal. PayPal is the one who has your credit card data.
Mhm.
And then what they're doing is make the payment to eBay from PayPal. So you've got a little bit of a barrier in between you. So eBay doesn't actually have your credit card information for that. It's PayPal who has it. And in turn, they're providing enough information to get the payment across. So there's a barrier in between you. It's not guaranteed, but it is at least an intermediary step in the middle of it. Skill bettors with good work ethic are exceptions to the rule. Yes. As soon as you add in the extra work ethic, yes, it does create a bit of a problem. It ruins the whole thing.
The way.
It was the whole thing. Yeah. Carter
Yeah,
Shoes,
if,
Visa,
my
MasterCard.
thing is, if somebody's information like this was actually leaked,
Mhm.
why have they not disclosed to anybody that was on the site that their information could have been leaked? Aren't they responsible for releasing that immediately, that information?
So that was what I was alluding to on Friday, Ham. Specifically, I said when you're talking, what I was waiting on, and that's why when I talked to Dan on Sunday, we were talking about. I knew that we were about to move past the Becca thing because the Probstein thing was going to be the one that was, and literally as soon as we cross over into Monday, boom, straight ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, you were right. I mean, you know it. I was watching.
Yeah. The timing was bang on because the moment you have that type of data leak, I'm waiting to hear from people who had accounts who are concerned about it, and I'm waiting to hear from consigners who Probstein is holding their stuff, and that's who we got information from first. Those are the people. So now they're starting to talk. So we're going to get more information now. They're going to start feeding us that additional info. That's what I was waiting on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here it is right here. Yeah. They have to disclose it to the government. Those are breach, which 100%. It's in the checklist of things. That's why, funny enough, I went specific. I literally pulled the government website, and in the list of things that they give you, the steps and things you're doing, disclosing the information to affected parties is on the list. It's right there.
No, that's a huge step. Because if not, that's the first legal matter that you get whipped with, real quick.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of people on there who are gonna be like, "Hey, we trusted you with our information," and
I just find that his release of the statement did not cover the overlying extra issues that are associated with this at all. It wasn't even like, no, that didn't happen. Hey, there's information that's misinformation. Blah, nothing. And I know why he's got to be quiet, because the first thing, if you say something right away, you're just automatically going to be guilty anyway. Sometimes you wait too long and then you say the wrong thing. It did the same thing. You just waited to do it. So that's how I feel about it. At least.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Ham. I just instinctively, I'd just be screaming from the rooftops.
Me too. I would have been like Teapot, going on every show, saying, no, this is not me. This guy's lying.
Flooding the internet, defending myself at all costs.
Defending myself, correct.
My name, my brand, my business, my family, my employees. I'd be defending them all, and I'd be going 24/7 nonstop. You wouldn't be able to open up your computer without seeing my face.
Yep, that's kind of what Teapot did. I mean, that's a perfect. Teapot went on places he's never gone before. You know what I mean? He went out of his way.
He went to Sports Card Radio, who has been attacking his boss like a pit bull for the last 5 years. I give that guy a lot of credit.
Yeah, I mean, he literally went to the zoo, opened up the cage to the lion den, walked in, and goes, "Here I am. I'm going to explain what happens. Let's hope you don't eat me." That's basically what he did.
Yeah, I give the guy a lot of credit. I make fun of his silly name, but that's it. I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, his real name's the Raptor. We'll go with Raptor.
I'd make fun of
that. So to your point, though, kind of in the same vein, though, if you want, because in that instance, it was his person that was associated. Like it's like a direct, this is to me the individual straight up. So from his perspective, he's looking at going like, okay, well, here's a big audience of people who are the most skeptical. And if I'm going to argue my case, if I can win over this crowd, and at least get them to at least hear me out, that's a start. That'll be really helpful.
But SCR is such an intimidating group of people to go on to. The chat and the two gentlemen are very intimidating. All right. Because they have a wherewithal to be snarky to begin with. And they come with a fair amount of facts from times, but they can at least push a point, even maybe if it's not so true, until you can unprove it. Like that's kind of their gimmick that they run with. That's why tomorrow is going to be extremely interesting, because I just consider it's going to just be a beatdown fest for Probstein. Like just a total,
I would think so. Yeah.
Just rip him off of the bone. He's going to rip the skin off the body. All right.
Are you suggesting, Ham, if I understand you correctly, are you suggesting that shall be men of not peace?
Oh, no peace.
No peace.
Oh, little man
scandalous,
on big horse
Brandon.
mean nothing.
Scandalous. Scandalous, Brandon. No peace?
Yeah.
Damn. My
No
goodness.
peace. It's going to be pieces. No peace.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, bottom line is that, from T-Bot's perspective, I understood. It was a risky move, but it seemed to have worked out for him, because in the end, he was able to get through that. And I think now a lot of people are more comfortable, and he's in a better place now comparatively. But this is one of those ones where, to your point, basically what you were alluding to, the longer you allow something to sit, something will fill the gap. And it tends to be rumor, innuendos, and people throwing ideas at the wall. The longer you leave it, the wide open gap there, people will fill it with theories. They will bring.
It's usually worse to leave it open than to fill it with something. Just something.
Yeah, it's like it will get filled with something. So if from your perspective, if you don't want to get filled with that, you may want to put something in there to at least occupy some of the space. Mm-hmm. Say something that is tangible, something that people can sink their teeth into. But if you give the most generic, even his statement to collect, it's not going to fix anything. Like it's the bare minimum of the bare minimum. Like it doesn't address any.
I don't even know if that was bare minimum. That was just a light. It was like if you used a plastic as a shield, like it didn't do shit really.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, you guys do card infos you sell. Yeah. Oh, for sure, absolutely. But that's why you, as in the individual, have to make sure that you do have to protect your own data. Like, look, I remember the earlier days, the reason why we were talking about earlier on eBay doing money orders is because nobody would have trusted their credit card online. You don't give your credit card number online. You're crazy. You're crazy.
All I ever did was I did money orders and small cash under $20.
Yeah. So that's how it was. Well, today retail shopping online comprises of how much money? A couple bucks.
All of it.
Yeah, a couple bucks. Yeah.
All of
So, times have changed. So it's still on you, though, to guard your information a little bit. And again, I went back to a little earlier. I was saying that, Neo had gone to that website, like, have you been pwned? That one. And like I said, I put in one of the emails, and that email was in like 12 data breaches going back to like 2009.
Yeah.
Now, in the long run, like it is what it is. But unfortunately, guess what? If you have an identity on the internet, there's a good chance your email has gotten somewhere. It's gone on a list.
Yeah. Oh, the other day I got a thing that says, "Are you trying to log in from the Netherlands?" I said, "No, I'm not. Thank you. I'm not changing shit. You couldn't get in to begin with. It's working. Go away."
Yeah. So that's why I say, like, if your hope is to like never be on any database ever, well, then the only way you can do that is don't be on the internet.
I'm just surprised there's not more two-factor involved with a lot of places at this point. It should just be a just something you have to do. You should have to two-factor everywhere.
Right.
And make it just so much easier.
Yep. Absolutely.
No, it wouldn't make it easier. It would make it safer.
No, it's easier. All of our phones have thumbprints and facial recognition. That's part of the two-factor. So
you're saying that? So you're saying that you think it'll surpass my air clones are pretty convincing. I think.
I mean, you got your own special set though. So it's different
I got different things going on.
Eric needs the other two because that's simplistic.
Yeah.
And Bobbles, he keeps changing his facial hair. His phone's not going to know who he is. He's going to run into problems.
It doesn't have a problem with the beard. It has a problem when I change my glasses to my other pair of glasses. Yeah. I don't know why, but if I change my glasses,
your eyes, cheeks, nose, mouth, it does a digital imprint across in a triangle.
Yep.
But it's just the other pair of glasses I have. It won't recognize me if I have those glasses on.
Yeah, David is 100% correct, 100% right. CC says, Scarlett, sometimes you get better, get ahead of a story like Teapot did, but in Beckett's case, he made it worse. That is true. Yeah. Well, hold on. one more time. You don't need to do the whole song, Eric. We did appreciate your effort a moment ago.
Thank
To
you.
be fair.
To be fair.
There you go. The reality is that Beckett threw himself into the pool. Like, he was literally on the outside. He didn't have a drop on him. He voluntarily
opened the
like,
door for the shark.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm just going straight in. And I was like, do you want to at least change out your Nope, I'm doing it right now, just as it is. And then I was like,
Yeah,
I don't understand why you decided to do that.
And then jumped into a pool of sewerage. And it's like, why? You didn't need to do that.
Yeah, he did the opposite of the teapot run. Okay.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like, I was like, you did, and him, I enjoyed it for the most part. The feedback and everything from everybody was really good. But there were a handful of people like, oh man, you're just picking on an old man. First of all, I pick on everybody.
This is true.
I'm equal opportunity. Okay?
There's a rule.
I'm equal opportunity. We're being fair here. But secondly, you did it to yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't pick you out of alignment and decide, hey, today I'm going to call you the sheriff. I didn't do it. You did.
Yeah, age usually gets you wisdom, but at some point it also gets you Alzheimer's. So you got to watch out what you're saying.
Yeah. I've enjoyed a lot of times, kind of to that point. I've always had this discussion with folks. It's like, yes, age can give you wisdom. It can also reinforce bad habits.
Yes. It can.
And convince you that you were correct when it turns out it's a lifetime of wrongness. And all you did was just specifically ingrain the wrongness.
And you should also specifically state which era, if you're talking about something that's no longer considered okay. Because let's face it, things in the 80s are no longer okay now, including the 90s. You go to jail for a long time for things that were just perfectly fine to get away with back then.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I outside of the attention, which I understood, I did not understand why he decided to wade into the waters when it's like, dude, it's not necessary. Just leave it be. Or if he really wanted to have a discussion about show bidding, literally pick somebody at random from the industry and have a random discussion with somebody who isn't involved in it, and just go back and forth and throw somebody. It's like 98% of his episodes. Just pick somebody and just have a normal conversation and go, so what do you think about this? I think this, this, and this. Okay, I think this. And we would never have even thought about it ever again. It would just been a normal episode and we would have moved on. So Stuke was saying here, have you been pwned? The first one that comes up is Beckett. Yes, it does. And to tell you, Stuke, think about this. You know full well the passion this channel and podcast have for making fun of Beckett the company.
Oh yeah.
Now, the picking on the man is a recent phenomenon. Picking on the man is a recent phenomenon, and he did it to himself. I didn't choose this life, Ham. It chose me. The point is that, but the company, we've been whipping those boys for years. We've been on that one for years. And Eric, what does it say to you that the Probstein thing is so juicy that I am building a franchise of mega churches off of this that I haven't even been able to get back to circle around to Beckett having some kind of a data leak, so it would seem. What does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I literally have a book around here somewhere. Hold on, see if I can find it. Oh yeah.
Any other time, Ham, I would have been all over them for this.
We have a book.
True.
Yeah. Right.
What's inside the first page?
He's gonna look.
5/31/24. Beckett slabs a fake Michael Jordan PMG red, and it sells on eBay for $23,000.
Yeah,
almost colored.
Yeah. By the way, for the record, for the people who have memories longer than a goldfish, Beckett had that issue with the fake slabs some years ago, and they never fixed it, and it has never been discussed ever again. I bring it up occasionally just to remind everybody that that's still an issue technically. They never fixed it, just to be clear. But now that's a million years ago in hobby sphere, so no one remembers.
They never fixed their problem too with that first card they graded.
That's a feature.
Yeah, well, that should be decertified.
Mike,
now you're going the Beckett route of talking about things that were long, long ago.
Brandon,
that's still a very relevant card.
Brandon, we're not here to talk about the past.
Okay, I'll talk about the future. When that comes up for auction again, and it's a trimmed card, it should be decertified.
You wait until Eric defensively shills it. You wait until Eric defensively shills that thing. It's going to go for $1 billion. It's going to be amazing.
I figure Kurt Card Care would have the biggest argument at least. It's like, listen, whoa. I made things better. They fucked it up.
They just need to send it back and just have it written, turned to authentic and just move on.
Yeah.
It'd still be the Gretzky McNall. It's still going to be the most famous. Just call it authentic and move on.
They would show that they're a grading card company of the people, and they're willing to correct a mistake.
Yeah, just authentic.
And then they'll charge them like $4 billion to regrade it because of its value.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I just wanted to put the card deals comment on there, but it's like, sir, we're speaking calmly. Stop yelling.
Well, it's a toilet, and it's currently
I hear you.
swirling.
Stop yelling, Brandon. We're speaking in calm tones right now. Calm, dulcet tones. Stop yelling. I hear you. I hear you. Megan tells us he demonstrates loyalty by throwing everybody under the bus. It was so good. Hey, I'm part of the original. So the original topic of the podcast was not going to be alive. The original topic was going to be, obviously, once the Probstein thing became a thing, it's like, all right, we're going to kind of do it. The original idea was to summarize kind of the stuff I talked with Dan and do all that, and then I was actually going to talk about, believe it or not, my topic, and it's in this there, was hobby resilience. Now, let me quickly explain what I mean by that, because this actually might still be a valuable topic with it. I watched a lot of videos where a lot of people were, obviously there's always, when something happens, there's a lot of attention to it, a lot of videos, a lot of people discussing it. But then there's the inevitable correction. The correction comes in the form of people going like, literally videos like, oh man, I'm in the hobby because I want to get away from drama in my everyday life. It's like, I've heard this, the videos are there. I've listened to them. And Ham, what I was thinking about this, so the reason I mentioned the hobby resilience thing is, I'm a very specific case. I get a kick out of this stuff. Honestly, I am in my glory right now. I'm having a great time. But here's the funny thing about this. I can know all this stuff is happening. I'm literally talking about it. I discuss the news and all this stuff. But what's funny is literally today, something came up with my eBay safe search and I made an offer on it and I won a card. My collecting continues unabated. Like, it is not impacted by this in the slightest. It is not impacted by this in the slightest.
I won a card the other day too. I was kind of just looking for a card. It's a speculation play for the soccer events coming up soon. And it's just a player that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to right now, that I think is going to get a lot of press coming into the events next year. And I was like, all right, let me grab one of these, because I just see some positive check marks that are going to be checked off. And I just got to hope that person demonstrates their ability, and the rest of the world takes notice.
Sure.
In the USA.
But what I'm referring to more specifically, though, is that in this case, I'm talking about like PC stuff. Like, so literally, like,
well, I mean, even if I end up keeping this, I don't have a problem keeping this, what this person's already accomplished.
Yeah, no, that's right. But real quick,
I'll just finish this thought.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, all I'm going to do is just finish this thought. What I'm getting at with this, though, is that that's my normal operating procedure. I go through my safe searches, and if I see, oh, that's a cool card, and then I go and I make an offer or whatever the case may be, and then I want it. Right now, I'm chasing after some of the wrestling stuff because the new set came out. So I opened a couple boxes, and I was like, okay. And I've been able to find some of the stuff. I got my checklist and everything, and I'm scratching some stuff. I'm already making some progress. So people reach out and go, hey, I got this one if you want it. This has been going on the last couple of days, literally this weekend. Nice. It's like, it's weird. The hobby drama and the shill bidding and all this stuff is like, it has not impeded my enjoyment of like going through the process and talking to, oh yeah, I'll offer you this. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll take that. That's fine. And then, but this stuff doesn't bother me. But I'm not ignorant of it. I'm not putting my head in the sand and pretending it doesn't exist. But also it's like, I'm not allowing it to impede the enjoyment. Oddly enough, you can do both of these things simultaneously. The resilience 100%. Part is what I'm referring to. A lot of people don't seem to have a lot of resilience. They need everything to be either completely hunky-dory, or if something happens, they just literally want to bury their head and say, I don't want to hear about the drama. It's like, well, then don't watch the videos, man. I'm not putting a gun to your head telling you to watch them. If it's throwing you off, then don't watch them. Then clearly it makes you sad, which is fine. That's okay.
No, it doesn't make them sad. It makes them interested and wants to respond and angry, and it fuels the fire and blah, 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 blah. That's
Ham, listen, they're sad that it makes them excited. They're ashamed is what they are. They're ashamed.
They don't understand what's happening to them, and they just need to go with it and just stop, just slow down a little bit, pay attention, enjoy the fuel that comes in, and then let it back out through the comments. That's all you got to do. Super easy.
I have so much fun with this stuff. It is so entertaining for me, and it's like, it's a good time. But that's what I say, like the hobby to me is a separate thing. Collect the cards, do all that stuff. Awesome. I don't let any of this stuff bother me, because it's like, why would it bother me? Like I'm doing my thing. Like,
it's all not real.
I was doing my thing before. I'm doing it now. What's that?
It's all not real anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yes, it's all a simulation. Exactly. So Brandon, sorry, you were saying something. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, the podcast leading up to the expo, like, you know, each week I was saying, oh, I bought some things on ComC or whatever, but I really didn't have any pickups to share. And, you know, obviously went to the expo and all that. Since we've been back, I've bought 24 things. So
Oh,
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
that's, you know, and plus the stuff back in the, you know, back over there that was purchased right before we left to go up. So yeah, I mean, this stuff was going on when we were up there. It had just started, not the Probstein thing, but the other stuff. There's, I like to call it the sandboxes. You know, there's so many sandboxes in the hobby, and it depends
There
on
really
which one
are.
you're playing in. But most
Even
of the
in other
time, when all
hobbies,
this,
though.
when all this bullshit comes out, it's usually the sandbox that the majority of the hobby's not messing with. So, you know, it trickles down. We discuss it, but it's not affecting me buying Michael Taylor or Victor
Yeah.
Robles or whoever, you know, Jason Robertson. It's not affecting me there. So whatever.
The thing that's funny too is this hobby itself. I mean, I know Carlos, you talked about the coin hobby, which is, you know, light years ahead of us, but it's the same shit.
It is, yeah.
It's the
They've dealt with
future
it
of
as
our
well.
shit. It's the same
Yeah, they've
shit.
dealt
Though.
with it.
I've gone and watched the coin guys argue. They literally are arguing about the same things we are. We just change the word card to coin. It's the exact same thing. But outside of those two hobbies, all the other hobbies, everybody seems pretty like happy and good to go, unless there's like some weird thing that comes out where they can't buy something. But the Hot Wheels community doesn't cry about it. The toy collector community doesn't really cry about it. I mean, the comic books a little bit, but they got kicked in the nuts recently pretty hard. The gun guys, like, it's just really interesting that the other hobbies, there's like probably 3: coins, cards. I don't even know what the third one would be. Darts. I don't know. Let's just say something.
This was your chance to pump the Labubus. This was your chance.
Now Labubu's already had its time. It's falling pretty hard right now because
Wow, the Labubus are hanging out with Beckett now. This is bad.
No, they're struggling. The Labubu cards, I think, kind of killed them. But they tried to branch out too fast, and they were stupid. They didn't go the Pokemon route first.
All right,
you put a Labubu card in Pokemon, then you launch Labubu cards. That's how you do that. But yeah, no, in our hobby, it's interesting because of the diversity of arguments, different collectibles, the way people collect, the amount of time people have been collecting for, I mean, what cards have been around now? What, 130 years, roughly? 18 something?
A little more than that. I want to say there were some 1870s, 1880s. So,
but most people that collected cards were nothing but hoarders at the time. That's why the stuff existed still.
Yeah.
Very few people said, I'm going to keep this for the future for third generation. No, that did not come up. They were hoarders, or they owned a store, stuff got passed down, buried, blah, 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 and rotates into this. Otherwise, everything's destroyed. But yeah, it's just an interesting hobby. And that's why where it's going is so different than where it came from. And that's why I don't know what it looks like moving forward, because I think even these kids that have got in and did the whole flipping thing through the last 2 years, I think it's shifting too hard for them, especially the sports card version. And they're going to just run right to Pokemon. That's where the Pokemon One Piece stuff really starts to take off, because their prices are not indicative of sports card prices still. Sports cards are so way more expensive than those other two genres. They have plenty of room to climb. People are already willing to spend this much for a baseball player they never saw play versus some Pokemon dude they grew up with playing the video games and watching all the stuff, and they're going to have money keep growing over time. That's why I like those markets better, technically, if you're looking at it from a market standpoint.
I think that's fair. I think what it comes down to, and a lot of that stuff as well. So I'll just say for Brandon and Eric as well, the part of the reason it amused me, and Zach's comment was a fun one. I did enjoy that one. I just put it on there to read. So much shame around wasting my life of watching stuff. I really have a hard time explaining to my coworkers why I never go out and pretty content. The thing, so jokes aside though, I do think this hobby is so psychological. A lot of people just cannot get past. They don't understand. It's a lack of self-awareness. Like, guys, the psychology is the whole game. This whole thing is the psychology. If you're presuming, for the sake of this conversation, let's say you are doing this because you want to enjoy whatever and it's escape and all that stuff. Fine, I'll take you at face value. Let's say that's what you want to do. Then nothing that has happened this week or last week or the week before should have any impact on that. Not a damn thing. Because just knowing it exists, it's like knowing that people get robbed in real life. Does that mean that you can't go outside? Does that mean you can't, don't go to the store because people get robbed in the store?
They tell you that. Don't walk through Walmart. You'll be abducted.
Yeah. So the thing is, at a certain point, now, if you go to a Walmart in the sketchiest neighborhood in the world, then maybe you need to consent. There are factors. There are things to consider.
And they don't sell cards at those places because they get
Yeah.
stolen. So
Yeah.
it's already a sketchy
But if you're
place.
talking about your standard variety situation, like, okay, but then, you know, stay home and live in fear. Like, I don't know what to tell you. For most people, though, your experience is going to be fairly normal. You're going to go in there, you're going to walk over and you're like, oh, they got nothing. And then you walk back out the door and you move on with the rest of your day. That's the normal experience for a lot of folks. The day-to-day of the hobby can still continue. It's not an issue here. But there are going to be some of these things. You do want to factor these things in. Hey, maybe those prices are a little bit elevated. Maybe do a little digging and double check. Hey, why is the price like that? That's good information to have. It's a good reason to actually look into it a little bit more yourself. Why not have a little bit of fun with it? But like, that's why I say, like, I watched those videos and I was trying not to laugh because I'm sitting there like, if you were getting depressed, but on all these videos, well, then stop watching those channels. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody to watch my channel. I like to be a mix of different things. The Friday live stream should be very clear. We have a lot of fun on those episodes, but we can also talk about the serious stuff too. It happens. It's part of life. Sorry. We can acknowledge both these things simultaneously, and then we'll go back to ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Within minutes of each other. It's how quick we can transition between one and the other.
In
Transitions
the
quick.
same sentence.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yes.
Same
So like
sentence.
that's my point here. My point is, don't tell me that you're all about the fun of the hobby and then you allow the fun to get drained out at the drop of a hat. If it's so easy, then there's still a problem here. And the problem isn't the hobby. The problem is you.
Yep.
So you have to look in the mirror then, because I'm having a great time. And I know about this stuff and I talk about it as much as anybody. So it seems possible. Paying $2K for a PSA 10 Pokemon card with a pop count of 45K. It's the dream, man. It's the dream.
Yeah, if there's 45 million people collecting it, that's small potatoes. Remember, that's worldwide.
Yeah. How the stuff gets glazed over so easily, only by another scam. Fair enough. I get you. Let's see here. Speaking of Guns N' Roses, you know the meaning of Mr. Brownstone?
Yeah.
Eric.
Yes. Mr. Brownstone is referring to heroin, and it's about one's relationship with the heroin.
Yep, absolutely, for sure. Apparently it's been received well. We may have to have a return engagement down the road. And that even included Eric in the chat. It's very exciting.
Dan, take it easy. I don't want your blood pressure to get too high, buddy.
We got to take it easy. Yeah. Hey, Eric was deeply disturbed. You know, I was getting effusive praise. Effusive praise. Low percentage of people are not on YouTube that have heard P. Ryan or Probes. 100% true. Yeah.
That's
The
true.
average rank and file person isn't concerned about them. And the truth is, we don't need to know about P. Ryan. He's an example. He is a cautionary tale of a very specific issue in a very specific situation. The individual, though, like in the long run, a couple of years ago, none of us knew who he was, even the people who are tapped in and are paying close attention, realistically. So even those people really didn't know who the hell he was. And if he disappears and goes the way of the sports car therapist, then so be it. Like, it happens.
No,
It happened
not
before. Let it
that.
again.
That's how you disappear.
Yeah, that's how you disappear properly. Baseball collectors need to step up their game. Our baseball cards are undervalued. We got defensively shill them all. Offensively shill them all. Special team shill them all.
I'm trying to hold on.
Yeah, everything, man. Everything. Yeah. Scandal marketing gets the word out fast. It does. It does.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that there's no such thing as bad press. Well, for Probstein, there might be some bad press here.
Yeah, there is. Very much so.
There's a little crippling.
It's been an interesting time, man. It's been an interesting time. All right, real quick. I'll do this. And then what I'll say is this. Let's hang out until about the top of the hour. I think that'll be good. We don't need to do a full-length live stream tonight. It's been good. And thank you, Chat. And Chat, if there's anything else you want to chat on for a couple of minutes, more than welcome to do that.
Hit the like button, Eric's fan.
Hit the like button. Eric's paying for it. Absolutely. But let me do this real quick because I haven't done the last couple of episodes and I would be remiss because they're good friends of ours. AMGcollectibles.ca, AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. Those in the Canadians are familiar with them, you know, involving Sherry, Brad, and the whole crew. Collected Scallops, Collected People, Steve, and Bonus Blair, all of it. I include a link in the description to all this stuff. So it is going, we're going to have a podcast episode that'll drop on Wednesday, and we'll talk about basically what's coming in the shop. They're going to have a Black Friday sale that will be coming up there as well. So we'll have some fun with that. And then I have like a stack of 10 cards that are new for the shop, including a Michael Jordan autograph. So I got some nice stuff on that pile of cards. So Steve sent me some nice stuff on there. I got some vintage. I got some Jordan. I got some nice stuff. A good mix of items. It's a random assortment. Whatever Steve thinks is kind of interesting or cool, he sends me a bunch of images, and that's usually what I feature on there. So even if you just want to see some cards, you can check out the episode for that. And otherwise, then we'll have some fun. And it'll be good. So regardless, I'll include a link in the description to that. We thank AMG, though, for being supportive of the channel and the podcast and all the rest of it. So thank you for that. Let's go back here. So he comes back and eBay doesn't ban hammer him. What % of his business comes back after 30 days? That's going to be the next thing, though. For some folks, they will feel burned by the failure of this platform, and they may not. That's why I said a moment ago, really, eBay doesn't have to give Probstein a sweetheart deal here, because he may have already alienated some of the very people. So they'll come back to eBay too, but they'll come back to eBay for DC Sports 87. They'll go work with somebody else. They'll just pick somebody else. So it's whoever gives you the best deal, right?
Yeah.
Has Brian Gray come out and said anything? We were promised things. Promised.
Yeah.
Not yet. I was telling Dustin he needs to go dig him out from wherever he's at and get him out here.
Yep. Makes sense.
I'm surprised he hasn't said anything, but then does that make him potentially guilty of something?
Somewhere Brian Gray is sitting there fighting Beckett for the phone. No!
You're talking about somebody who talks in his sleep and he hasn't said anything.
Well, what if the reason that Beckett is so distracted right now is that he's trying to fight off Brian Gray? He goes, don't say anything. Don't say anything. You're going to ruin this.
What happens if Brian Gray buys Beckett?
Oh, my God. Oh, that'd be
I
amazing.
want that baby to be born, damn it.
Wow. Listen, I don't think I don't even know if Ham is still on Offsetter. Sometimes, Steve will see a comment, he'll get distracted for 2 hours, and that'll be the end of it.
We try to control it, but we don't want to override the system. So you kind of, you let the algorithm play itself out, and then you try to go from there.
Yeah, it's like I don't think you can stop Steve. I think you can.
Well,
only
the
hope
thing
to
is
contain him.
then when I start to butt in and stuff, it becomes an argument, and then I'm the bad guy because I came in and said something, and then I started a conversation to try to liven things up a little bit.
It's because you're a jerk.
I know, it's great. Tell Michelle I said hi. Wink, wink.
See, right there. See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Where's Kathy at? I haven't seen Kathy in chat either.
Ham says hello.
Yell off into the abyss.
I'll let a friend request me on Facebook.
Yeah. Maybe it's the red button talk. Press the red button, Brian. Yes.
He's pressing it, but the Staples thing keeps coming up.
He got confused. That was the wrong button.
Yeah.
Did you iron your beard? I like that, Bob. I like that.
Nope.
Brandon, would you braid it and put some beads in it?
No.
Come on, like a Viking, not like a little sissy girl, but like a Viking.
No.
Come on, if it gets long enough, you have to do it. At least once, one show. I just once. Might like it.
I'm assuming you mean Brian Gray, but if you do, Brian Gray building his own website, that would be amazing.
I don't want to see that. That'd be so confusing.
I kind of do want to see it.
It'd be like
Big Brian, the deal guy.com. Big Brian, the deal guy.com.
Spin the wheel for 10% off.
The problem is the wheel just sends you to random auctions. It's
Exactly.
like, what is even this thing?
It's like going to Temu. You got to spin 3 wheels and it's free. Order, all you got to pay is shipping.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. That'd be amazing. Yep. Maybe he fulfills the prophecy. So that was in the memes. The Shill with the Y was in the memes. Maybe Big Bri fulfills the prophecy and actually makes the site.
Yeah, we can only hope.
Bam.
I always thought too, though, the name Snype was just a bad name for.
What's a terrible name? It's atrocious. It's horrible.
Name. It's like,
Look,
I could say so. I don't want to say anything bad.
Like I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know what name you would use. The thing is, you got to pick a name that hasn't been trademarked. You got to come up with something like that. So, but I don't know what you would. It's an auction site. So what do you want to call it? Like you have to call it something that at
I
least
can come up with a few names, but I'm not willing to give out free information right now without being paid.
Yeah. So it's like you'd have to think of something that hasn't been used, that can't be super common word, and it can't be something that if you see it and it makes no sense and no one would even think about it, then that's not a good name. Like that'd be an atrocious name. You can't go.
Be like AAA auctions, so you could be first in the phone book.
Why didn't he just use his damn eBay user ID?
Correct. He already had the name. He's
Like,
already who he is.
Yeah, you
Why
Google,
would
somebody
you change
Google
anything?
searched where did
Yeah,
it
if
go?
you
It,
go to the
like, it
website,
would have brought up the
123
site.
Probstein.
Yeah.
Are
Well,
you
you know,
kidding me?
here's an idea, Eric. I think you'll like this one. You know, Brian Gray already, because he acquired Leaf and a couple of those other brands. He obviously, and he bought ProSet's branding and all that, the IP.
Right.
He
Oh,
obviously likes buying pre-existing historical brands.
yeah.
I want Brian Gray to start an auction site and make it Netscape.com or Lycos. I want us to go old school, Ham. I want to be like, oh my God, that's the name I have not heard in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people never heard because they weren't born yet.
I know, but it's like, I remember. Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Exactly.
The Y in
Candy
Sleep A
Mandela
stood for
effect.
Y.
The Mandela effect never affected cards, did it?
I don't know what to tell you. We got to defensively shill it.
That'd be a
Angel
fun
Fire.
story.
Angel Fire would be a good one. GeoCities. Can we get GeoCities? I love GeoCities. That was awesome.
Roller coaster tycoon auctions.
Amazing. Sensational. I love GeoCities. That was a good time. That's why I say that's why the whole website thing makes me sad, Ham, because back in those days, I like going into Notepad and actually typing out the HTML to like build a page and then seeing it. Oh, I screwed that up, and then you fix it, and then like, oh wait, all right, hold on, I got it.
Yeah, now you just tell one of the GPTs to do it for you, and it spits it out.
Yeah, or you can go to freaking Squarespace. You can go to Squarespace and you just drag and drop. You can move the stuff like in 5 seconds.
He could have went with Honey Buddy Bids.
Honey Bunny Bids would be great.
Has anybody went and bought that? We can go to GoDaddy right now and see if it's on there.
Yeah. Well, originally he wanted to go with BYD. So when he was on Boston Card Hunter, he was supposed to be BYD. That was the original name.
Yeah, that's been gone a long time.
Yeah. So that was the issue there with that one.
Total part of the '90s.com bubble.
Stu going into the reference. How do you like this one, Eric?
Oh God.
Your dad's legacy lives.
Good porn name.
I don't know if you saw on Friday, Ham. I took a screen grab of the Probstein and Mastro picture, and literally Master with the hat and everything. And literally, I could have put it right beside Eric's image. I go, your father. He is your father. Seek your feelings.
No, I was watching. I was there the whole time.
Yeah,
it was good.
Aja.
Yeah.
Aja.
Yeah. I don't like to get an ugly story about it. Yeah. That's right. I like them all. I like them all. Like I said, I'm having a great time. It's been fun for me. I can't complain. So real quick, like I said, we'll go a couple more minutes there, and if you guys have anything you want to talk about, we can. Anything else that you guys wanted to feel like it would be worthwhile chatting? Obviously, with the dominated conversation was the one thing, but is there anything else of interest or anything else going on with you guys that you feel would be worthwhile mentioning?
I went back and checked all my history, like I said earlier. Since 2022.
Are you okay?
No, well, all my purchases on eBay. I went to see
the Jason Robertson pump is more than a joke.
No. But the last card I bought from Probstein was in 2024, and it was a first Bowman Victor Robles Gold Refractor Auto that was jersey numbered. That he failed to put the serial number on.
Scandalous.
So it went cheap. But the one, like, I know the joke has always been out there, the accusations, the assumptions, and all that of the shilling. But there is a piece in my collection that I honestly did not think that I would ever own. I didn't think I'd ever be able to afford it. It was purchased from Probstein, and that is the Jackie Robinson sheet that has the autograph of Jackie, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Yogi Berra, Otto Graham. Like, it's a list of autographs on that, and that was purchased from Probstein. And so, A, to be able to afford it to begin with, and B, to know that it didn't get bid up, you know, especially in current day, it's kind of surprising that I was ever able to even get that. So
I wonder if it was something that, I mean, based on what we've seen and whether it's true or not, if that's something that's just part of what other people do as well. And it's kind of like, I mean, today, again, you can build a SaaS, which is software as a system or system as software, whatever you want to call it. And you can force it to just do it for you. Like at any given point, you could put in specific rates for the computer just to make sure it gets to. using a username, and it's not hard to do actually at all if you have any type of wherewithal with how to put it into the program. So I just wonder if it's just common practice through auction sites as well. Not assuming that he came up with the idea all by himself, because he'd probably potentially have been doing it elsewhere. But with technology, it's a lot easier to implement something like that and kind of just have it hidden in the background when you don't have the back door open.
That is the thing that has happened. It is a problem.
Yes.
Jay here. And I appreciate the comments from earlier, Jay, as well. Brandon went back to the punch cards to check the data on prior auctions. I appreciate where you went with it, Jay. That's why you're a pal.
Classic.
Love it. Now we're getting good stuff. Otto Graham. There you go. Paul appreciates it. Quick side story about this as well. Obviously, I enjoy technology. It's kind of been basically what I ended up doing career-wise, kind of in that direction and everything. But what's funny is that my mom actually spent years being a manager for different levels, project manager and all that. But the thing is, in her schooling days, she actually did do programming with punch cards.
Oh, wow.
Now, yeah. So at that time, like they had them, and that's kind of what she was using and kind of playing around with. Now, the funny thing is she knows, obviously, she's worked with these teams and she worked as a project manager and did all that for many years. But the joke is that after a while, once she reached a certain level, she kind of became the manager. Like, she never really got into the programming and all that side of it. It became a joke though after a while. It's like she would call me and she'd be like, "Hey, can you help me like install this antivirus software, whatever?" Because I'm tech support for the family. So whenever they call me in, and I'm sitting there like, "You program with punch cards and the antivirus software and the DV and the CD is what we're getting lost on here."
Taking you down. It's too shiny. The shiny.
I think it depends on if you keep up with it or not. It's really what it comes down to. It's so like there is a point in time at which she was up on the latest and greatest of the technology, and then once we crossed that line, because in my house we had certain tech early, like before obviously the iPad and all that. There were a lot of early attempts at it. They weren't particularly good. Like they tried to do it, it just wasn't very effective. But I got to play with that stuff. So for me as a kid, it was fascinating to kind of tinker with it a little bit and get exposure to it. We had internet in my house in 94. We had broadband in 99. So we still had so for us, we were relatively early adopters. Everybody else is like, wait, so you don't have to use the modem. It doesn't make all that. No, the broadband, you're connected. You're connected the whole time. But it's just, you have to have the exposure. You got to be in on it. And now a lot of kids today, they got the tablet in their hands basically at the beginning. So for them, it's brand. But I got to see the whole progression. Obviously, all that. And the old versions were clunky as hell. They were garbage.
Horrible. Horrible.
Absolutely.
Like I watched somebody showed a computer like in the 70s, and it's like it was running on 256 megabytes. I'm like, what? Like, that's spit in the wind now. I mean, are you kidding me? This whole entire machine has filled my whole room up. 258 megabytes or whatever it was. It was ridiculous.
My first computer at home was a Tandy. It was an IBM compatible Tandy. So you got those through Radio Shack. And my mom had the receipt from when
that's
they bought
the little
it.
screen. That's the little screen, right?
No. This one had a regular monitor.
Okay,
it was a desktop. It was three separate components. This one had the monitor, it had the desktop itself, and it had the keyboard. So the three different pieces.
Keyboard, 1, 2, 3.
But the thing is that, so this is around 89.90 is when they picked this up from Radio Shack, and they had to pay it in installments. And my mom still had the receipt many years. I think she still has it. It was $3,000. The damn thing is a glorified calculator. By today's standards, it's a glorified. My calculator might have more power.
100%. TI-82.
This thing has 50,000 times more power than that entire thing. But that's all we had at the time. So it was like, it's like, wait, so you're saying it's got a calendar and it's got a calculator built in? Oh my God.
Yeah, but the only thing that's good is a lot of those things will still turn on. They won't do anything.
Oh, yes.
Turn on.
The damn thing was a tank. It was a tank.
Got 3 pounds of gold inside of it.
A nuclear explosion will happen and the damn machine will still work, Brandon.
Like a cockroach.
It'll still be there at the end. You'll be able to turn it on as long as you got power. So but that's, again, it's just exposure over time. That's why it's kind of funny to me that in the end, so circling back around to the topic of the night, as someone who that's been kind of my background and kind of my history as a kid and leading into adulthood, it's kind of funny to me that a guy who sold almost $1 billion worth of stuff on eBay gets basically downed because they couldn't effectively build a website, Brandon.
I agree. I mean,
like he put a lot of money into that too, and basically it just got clipped.
Oh yeah,
I
crazy.
I don't like the the offerings that you get out there now to build websites. I tried making one for the submissions a few years back, and it's like they try to make them all, drag and drop and everything. But back, I guess it was 2010 or 2011, I can't remember exactly, but I actually messed around with the coding and all that stuff, and I built the website for Jerome Simpson. And I'm proud to say that it lasted more than one day, and there was never any security breaches, and there also was a merch store there, and nobody ever got hacked or their data stolen or anything like that. So I feel accomplised.
They should put you in charge of security. They might have made it to 2 weeks.
I don't like today's way that you go about building and stuff. Yeah, I did not like that. So,
like, you know what's funny? You know what would have been funny though? Like, realistic, like jokes aside, the irony here of this, I'll say, Ham, is that this could have been mitigated. And I said it on the Friday Live. Probstein doesn't strike me as a technology guy. I gave you guys that story because I'm saying that. And by the way, I'm not pretending to be up on the latest and greatest. There's so much stuff going on. You have to be on it constantly. You really have to be on it constantly to be up on the latest and greatest and really know your stuff all the time. But I know enough to be dangerous. Like, I'm not lost in the weeds. I've made my career about understanding software and figuring it out quickly, and that's basically what I've made my life on. But the thing is, you don't need to be an expert in everything. You just need to have enough humility to understand that, hey, I know a couple of things. If I don't know about this, find somebody who does. Yeah. Get the digital equivalent of a general contractor. They don't need to be an expert in everything, but they need to know enough to be able to vet. Oh, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're doing. And then don't allow that person to do the work.
Building something that has the potential to make millions and millions of dollars.
Yes.
So like you need to definitely make sure it is based on what it needs to be and it's factually done. And again, I just think he probably tried to go a cheap route. He probably didn't go the right way. He might have been on one of those web builder sites and built it himself. And then,
that's what I was getting at, though. That's where you need to hire somebody. Even if there's one person whose only job it is to make sure that the people that are working for you have a clue what they're doing. That's it. Like that's why I said the general contractor analogy. Yeah. The general contractor isn't the one doing all the work, but their job is to supervise the people that are.
Well, I mean, you working in IT, basically, and what I've always witnessed with me working in IT is the amount of stuff that we have to constantly stay on top of and little errors and things that go on that keep everything running. Nobody ever even knows that's going on. Like, yeah. But if nobody's there to see it and fix it, then everything, all hell will break loose. Realistically, it's what'll happen. Or just everybody ends up with nothing. So he's laughing. People are like, "Oh, you don't really do anything all day." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, y'all, we've had like freaking 3 APs go down and our network's flooded with shit. Like, you just don't know it because I keep diverting everything. So if I wasn't here, you wouldn't be online right now.
So I used to have a conversation with my old, the upper senior management on this, and they were trying to get their head around, like, so what is it you guys are doing? And I said, my job is to make sure that you have no idea what I'm doing.
Yep.
Because if I'm doing my job properly, if I'm doing my job properly, then nothing goes wrong. And you don't have to get angry phone calls from the VPs or higher yelling at you because the system is down. That's it. My job is to make sure that you never have to take that phone call. And as long as I'm doing my job and you're not getting that phone call, everybody wins.
Yeah, as long as we have our redundancies in place, we should be good.
Yeah. But that you need those people. Eric, we're big advocates here of having people. Probstein needed people and he needed the right people, and I don't think he got the right people.
Did not get the right people because I think
whoever the people he had, they're not the right
Bunny and some other Probstein random numbers. Nope. Don't start at the circus, buddy.
He needed to ditch Honey Bunny and find somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
Yeah. Honey Money.
Yeah. Cloudflare. Yes, Jay, that's right. Yeah. Do you remember, Brandon, how many visitors the site had? The one that you built back in the day? How was the traffic?
It wasn't like it wasn't anything to the level of what he was doing.
Sure. Yeah.
It was just basically a fan site, and there was some promotion there. We would post like autograph appearances and stuff like that, and then I had went on and created just some merch like keychains and mugs and little things like that, and iPad cases. Those were big back in the day. I don't remember. I don't want to like throw out bullshit numbers because I don't honestly remember, but it wasn't nothing like massive like what his site would be getting. So,
All right, that's fair. Sounds good. So why don't we end it on that? Thank you everybody for joining in. I appreciate you all popping in. Chat, you've been great. Again, like I said, this is early days. So this is part 1. I promise I'm not going to make 10 videos on this. I promise I'm not. But I am going to compile. If we get Eric, listen, I'll put you in charge of doing the 10 videos. If you're volunteering, what I'm hearing is you want more work to do. I can put you in charge of this.
Hey, hold on. It's
Thou shalt
YouTube Hall of Fame season. So you got to ramp it up.
Yes.
Ramp it up. You need to know, everybody needs to know that you are on.
Eric, you want to be adjacent? You're going to have to earn your supper.
We have rules.
Sounds to me like somebody's volunteering. Anyway, bottom line, I promise I won't bombard you with videos. However, if anything interesting or pertinent comes up, so we've laid out the foundation. Right now, Probstein's going back to eBay. We don't know what the terms were. We don't know what the situation is beyond that. We know. Obviously, you mentioned already tonight in the chat. Thank you for that. You mentioned this. They've already got some of the auctions up, and it seems to be in progress. I'm waiting. I'm curious to hear if we hear from more consigners. We have definitely heard from one. I'll include links in the description for folks in the replay, so you can check that out. That's one person's opinion. But obviously, there are the consigners who also may have had their own conversations or reach out. We haven't heard from Probstein directly, and we have no specific follow-up on those shady accounts, the Honey Bunny and the rest of it. But Sports Car Radio is going to do their thing tomorrow night, so we're going to see. We'll see if anything happens with that. If anything else comes of that, we'll keep tabs of it. So worst case scenario, if anything interesting comes up, maybe I can touch on it midweek. Otherwise, we'll be there for the Friday Live either way. For the Friday Live will happen either way, and it'll be all good. So we'll figure it out from there. But for the moment, we're okay. And then we'll keep you posted if there's anything else worthwhile. Thank you very much, Dave. Remember to give thanks by hitting the like button to the video and make Eric pay his fair share. Facts. So one more thing before I go. I'm in Canada, so it doesn't apply to me. However, for 3 out of 4 people on the screen, well, Eric allegedly more than anything else, adjacent. The other 3 of you are in the Americas, so have a great Thanksgiving. To those of you in the Americas, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your food. Hopefully your company doesn't kill you, or you get killed by them, or you attack them, or whatever it is you do.
All you can eat Brazilian steakhouse.
Go for it. Absolutely. So enjoy it. So have fun and enjoy it. Hopefully it's a good time. And stuff your faces and watch some football.
Yep.
I believe in you.
Lots of that. I'll be doing
in the meantime, I'll be around on this side of things, keeping tabs on things. And if anything scandalous happens, I'll keep you posted. And in between eatings of stuffings, you can check it out if anything comes to pass. I'll let you know. And otherwise, we'll be back on Friday. Usual fare. Eric will be there with bells on. Hit the like button on your way out. Appreciate you. Have yourselves a good one. We'll catch you in the next one.